This hour is presented by Subaru of Gwinnett. You'll love the difference. The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. On a somber morning, a somber way to start.
I haven't eaten in about 20 hours.
I haven't either.
It's been very, very strange, very odd.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy. I've not eaten either, dude.
I can't. I've been sick to my stomach. I went to bed last night. In the only way that I thought I could really deal with stuff. I hugged the kids a little bit harder.
Yeah, of course.
And I think the wife could see kind of the look on my face, the amount of news I consumed yesterday, and then trying to make sense of everything and having to get away from your rage and your anger and your frustration and be like, okay, how do I take something that I'm so emotionally torn up by in an assassination in America and be like, okay, how do I look at this the way I'm...
Yeah, how do I look at it with clear eyes?
How do I look at this the way that I think that I would typically do when I'm not emotional? I talk about it on the show all the time.
Keeping the emotion out of it.
I keep emotion out of most things.
Yeah.
It was impossible yesterday.
It's so true. It's so true. It was impossible. There's no other way to put it. And when I saw my son's name come up on the phone, he only calls me. What have I told you, man? 1,000,000 times. He only calls me on his best day.
Right.
And his worst day.
And most of the time he wants to talk to mama or money.
Exactly right, man. It's either the best thing that's ever happened to him or the worst thing that's ever happened to him when he calls daddy. And this was, minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't even know, after the news breaks, the shooting, and then the passing of Charlie Kirk. He was like, Dad, I've read about this. This don't happen in America. I've read about this. This is what happens in communist countries like China and Russia and Cuba and places like that. And I said, buddy, the problem is you have people that want the United States to be that. They want the United States to crumble from within. And he said, I can't believe in America that you could be shot and killed for just telling people what you think.
So yesterday I brought up a lot of the issues that are going on with Gen Z. And we talk about it on this show. We talked about having our interns that were in here. Where do you think that all came from? That's Charlie Kirk's influence.
100%.
On the party.
100%.
That is a discussion of a man whose only crime, and you can tell me about what he thought about foreign affairs or what he had to say about this experience.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk's biggest crime was taking 3 million young people and turning them into Republican voters.
That's right. They hated him for it.
And sitting and having discussions with people that couldn't have been more different. I think one of the highlights for when he was in Athens, obviously, was people just going nuts. But it was, the wilder you are, please come up here.
Yeah, so if you disagree with me, come to the front of the line.
Please come to the front of the line.
But the thing was, Los, he was never disrespectful to those people ever one time.
No, when
he always engaged them as a person that he respected because they were made in the same image of God.
Yes.
That's why he respected them.
And I think that was the moment that was getting me the most yesterday is young family, wife, 2 little ones, never going to hug them again. At the same time, I'm like, what is Charlie Kirk's greatest crime? That he was listening to young people and then articulating it to old people?
That he cared.
That he cared about what was going on? That he made it a point to say, here's what these challenges are of these people? When I tell you about your concern about whether or not the young people who are fluid when it comes to their politics, they are with us in the populist movement, but they can very easily move over to a socialist movement if they feel that they're being ignored. They don't have any kind of brand loyalty here. And so Charlie Kirk was the one trying to tell you, pay attention to this stuff. And I think this was highlighted for me, Tug, by yesterday as I'm moping around the house, seeing all this play out. And I was with my in-laws and we're just getting ready to go and grab an early dinner and go to a volleyball match. And I go, well, it looks like Charlie Kirk's been assassinated. And there are giant question marks over both their heads. Who? Who's that? Well, I mean, they are part of the boomer generation. And while both of them are solid Republicans, this was not their warrior. This was our warrior. This was our golden boy. And so as I'm explaining to them, like, hey, listen, he just got a moment of silence at the Yankee game.
Yeah.
I guess this must be a big deal. I'm like, you think?
Yeah. It's
a political assassination?
Yeah.
If you cannot kill Donald Trump and you could not kill anyone within the administration, what do you start doing? Who's the next target that if you want to create instability within a society, you kill Charlie Kirk?
The one that had influence.
Massive influence.
He had no power, though, Los.
No.
Zero. He had zero power.
He just had a microphone and your microphone, and let's have a talk.
He was a college dropout. He was a kid that went back to college campuses and spoke to kids who he disagreed with and some that he agreed with. And he told them what he thought, and he exchanged ideas. He was never hateful. He never encouraged violence. He did the exact opposite of what everybody on left-wing media said he did yesterday. He did the exact opposite.
And so when I say I had to remove myself from the emotional part of this, because the emotional part was something that I don't recall feeling in forever. It was rage. And I'll say this, listening to Kimmer, that was rage, okay? Like, that's what it was. What I'm now telling you, as I kind of take a step away from all this, when you look at what has gone on in this country in just the past year, millions deported, USAID gone, taxes being changed, Social Security being changed, a new census that is coming, the removal of the left's power, this was an act of desperation
Absolutely
from the left.
Right.
This
Absolutely.
is you are winning so much, and so think about this. You actually had the National Guard that rolled into an American city change the crime rate by more than 90%.
In an instant.
And no one has said a word in terms of the rest of the country. They're like, cool. And the left went, well, how do we try and destabilize all of this? Let's kill Charlie Kirk. Now, you can associate it to, a leftist movement, a globalist movement. What I put on Twitter was the less power these people have, and you could fill in the blank, whoever you think that is, the more violent they get. The goal is for you to get angry and you to backlash.
That's right. You cannot. You cannot. Please do not mistake this. You have to handle this the right way. You have to, Los, you're so correct. The balance of sadness yesterday and anger.
That rage.
I was literally going back and forth
justified,
like this.
By the way. Justified rage.
Completely. But it has to be contained, and it has to be used in a positive way. A positive way that affects your kids and your grandkids, because this is what we're leaving to them. If it's not done the right way, we're no better than they are.
And when you look at some of the FBI information that's kind of leaking out there, this is how you know this is different. You have a shooter that reportedly 200 yards off, you put a single shot. From what the early reports have been, the scene's clean. In terms of there's no shell casing.
No, yeah. They knew exactly what they're doing.
Somebody who knew what they were doing did this.
Absolutely.
This isn't some,
random crazy.
Yeah. To me, now, would that be easier to accept?
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure. Oh, definitely. What do you mean? Yes, definitely.
But this sounds like somebody who professionally did this. And that's how you know how much, and I know it's not a consolation prize. There's no solace in this. This is how much we're winning, that this was the response. That you took out the golden boy.
You took out the man who literally introduced conservatism to college.
Millions on campuses. Yeah.
He made being a father a good thing. And look how many leftists talk about how unimportant a father is in a home, in a marriage, in a relationship. They hate it because it provides stability. Stability does them no good. He made having kids and being married long term, loving the person that you're married to, cool.
How many times have we pushed, get married, have kids?
Every day we talk about it on the show. Every day. Charlie Kirk talked about it every day.
And so this is how much that you're dominating them. The left, the globalist movement, the communist movement, they're all banded together, and they were worried. At what point is it too much? Like, they're thinking to themselves, at what point will they turn on Donald Trump? We've already called him a pedophile. We've already tried to make him into a sadist. I told you, they've been trying to separate Trump voters from Trump for the better part of a decade. It hasn't worked. Okay, try and kill the guy. All right, that's not working either. Okay, what's next? Next is create so much instability that if there is violence in the streets, if we have total chaos that goes down where you have one side pointing at the other and now it's not about just words, it's about bullets, then maybe there's a push for now we can maybe see if this entire administration will resign and get out of there. Can we create that kind of instability?
They can't.
That's the goal. That is the desperate goal.
But if this were a leftist, movement like George Floyd was, Atlanta'd be on fire, Utah'd be on fire. But it's not.
It's not.
That you can't radicalize Republicans. I don't believe you can, because we're too based in common sense and being able to control your emotions and do things the right way. They don't have that. They don't believe in God. They believe in government.
I think your radicalization has to turn into, if you weren't sure about running for that position, go run for that position.
Yeah. Like at a school board, something local maybe.
If you weren't sure about showing up to somewhere to give a speech, to talk about a particular issue, do it. Like, that's radicalization to me. I mean, I think about how angry I was over COVID to the point where I said, that old sports radio thing, it's too small. I got to go do something else. And that was my radicalization moment where I firmly believed, hey, there was a plague dropped on society to slow down everything that was going on in this country. So if you think that it's beyond the globalist, communist, socialist movement to try and create instability at the end of a rifle, then you're not paying attention.
No, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, when I get the rage and the anger and the sadness all put aside, this was an act of desperation from their side. It was. And you could say that if this turns out to be, wow, it was a pretty professional move done by a pretty professional organization, then okay, you know who to blame. You could point out, hey, was this involving a foreign entity that needs to make sure that the Americans are destabilized?
Let me tell you,
that's a possibility as well. But if this is just one crazy leftist, it's still the same thing. They're so desperate, they're willing to try to end things at a barrel. This to me, and I've heard people use this term, and I've never used the term a day in my life, but a watershed moment, and it does feel like that. It feels like America changed yesterday. And it can change for the better. It can. It doesn't have to. And I hope it does. But I hope this is that moment where everybody goes, I get it. I get it now. What you're saying is true. These people are so desperate. They want to undermine and destroy everything that we stand for and we believe in, and we will not allow it. This is the moment where you go, whether it's I'm running for office or I'm going to make sure that I get out and vote on the 23rd for the Georgia State state senator seat that Brandon Beach left open. It could be as simple as that. You get out and exercise your right to vote, making sure that these leftist Democrats never are elected again. It could be any and all those things. If you just consider a conversation we had yesterday, and this was myself and Jure, and we were talking about the need for that type of governance, again, the globalist, communist, socialist agenda, to have chaos going on in order to affect change. Like, that's the goal.
Their type of change.
That's why they have always said, like, let's open up the prisons, let's not prosecute people.
Open the borders.
What we have had going on in this country is such a backlash to their overall goals.
Worldwide, too, man.
Where it's, wait a minute, you're telling me that every single time we poll the American people, they want more people in prison? Oh, my God, what are we going to do? They actually want people held accountable? This was an act of desperation. Charlie Kirk is dead because we're winning so incredibly hard. And that sucks. Because part of the reason why that victory is what it is in 2016 and 2024 is because a lot of the work that he did. And I loved always his thought process, and you can always go back and listen to it. He talked about, I go on college campuses so you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's like I'm surrounded by the communist left. And the wild part about it, during that time period, was to see the crowds grow and grow and grow to the point where it's now popular to be conservative. It's popular to be masculine.
It's popular to be a dad.
It's popular to think, hey, you know what this young woman wants to do? She wants to graduate and marry some guy and start a family. Like that's part of that legacy. And that mentality is so damn dangerous to the other side that their act of desperation was, let's get a shooter on the roof.
And they did. And they did. There's no length that they won't go to destroy the United States of America. That is the stated goal. They've told you as much. Now, are you convinced? You have to listen to what these people tell you they want to do, because they will do it.
And if you just want to, this is not tinfoil hat stuff, okay? Like a man's dead. We now know this is no longer theory. All right, this is how this plays out. If you ever want to know what the influence is as far as the world, like we talk about how good the world is when America is strong. And it is. We've been able to dictate terms on 7 peace policies around the world. Here's what we're going to do economically. The stronger America is, the more influence we wield, the safer the world is. Safe isn't good for everybody in terms of people that want to make money or continue war. And so when you hear the discussion, then this is going to pick up, that our intelligence capabilities are wondering, was this in part done intelligence through another country?
That would not surprise me in the least.
To destabilize the United States and make them less powerful.
Dude, Iran, Russia, China, you already have the Russians flying drones into Poland. To pretend that none of this could be connected is, I think...
It's all worth the discussion.
Absolutely. You have to have the discussion. Like, you're naive if you don't.
I mean, remember, we are now, and I'm not saying that this is who did any of this stuff, but remember, when it came to the propaganda end of this, the Ukrainians had a list of American influencers of like the people that needed to go.
Yep.
Because these people were keeping the American people from wanting to continue to fund and fight this war. Again, I'm just saying that
you have to have the discussion.
You have to have the discussion because
it's the truth. We know that's the truth.
Because in America that is not stable, if we are fighting amongst each other in the streets, not only is that going to hurt the administration, but allows these rogue countries out there to go. That's all we needed was just one person and one bullet, and this is how they went to hell in a handbasket. Now we can kind of do what we want.
Yeah,
we're in good shape here.
That's exactly right.
So I mean, all the possibilities, all the cards are laid out on the table. Does this seem like just some wackadoo who just decided to get up on a roof and do this? No. The reason they're still at large.
Yeah, that's right. Because they knew how to get away. They had planned
the shot, the position, the accuracy, the escape, the cleaning of the scene.
Everything.
This does not set. Now, if you told me, okay, this is some wackadoo leftist who's ex-military, I'd be like, okay, that makes this looks so much more diabolical than just some trans dude who shoots at a church.
No, that's right. Because look at, and the difference, Los, is think about what we knew about the trans shooter in Minnesota seconds after it happened. We were exchanging texts and information about him almost immediately. There's no information to exchange.
No, this post is ghosted right now.
The FBI said at large.
Yeah.
They've arrested 2 people, let both of them
loose.
go.
Yeah.
That's how professional this was. They knew who they needed to get rid of, and they did it.
The man who has turned 3 million young people into Republican voters and was the... If there was ever going to be somebody that you could point at and say, that guy legitimately could be president one day because of the work he had done with the youth. You know, when I bring that stuff up and I tell you about what Gen Z loves Charlie Kirk. Like, if you want to talk about radicalizing some people, causing that phone call from your son, having my daughter who's 14 bring it up with me. She's like, did you see the Charlie Kirk news? It's like, yeah. And now we're in a little bit of a discussion about this stuff. She's 14. Now, she's pretty worldly. She's pretty mature. But that's...
the influence.
This was their champion.
That was the influence.
It's going to change how they view things.
I would add that it's going to create many, many more Charlie Kirks.
I would hope so. That would be a tremendous legacy.
I think it will. I think those kids are now in a position where they're like, I refuse to be afraid. Charlie wasn't afraid. The greatest generation of Americans weren't afraid. The people that brought down Flight 93 in the field in Pennsylvania, they weren't afraid. They did what they needed to. And I think Charlie Kirk's legacy to those kids will be, you pick up the torch and you run with it.
He wasn't lying about how evil they are.
No, he wasn't. This is the Morning Xtra. Maybe before we go to break, just a quick moment of silence. This is Extra 106.3.
Start your day with Tug and Los on the Morning Xtra from 6 to 10. Then it's Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck at noon, and the Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. And hang out every night for Jesse Kelly at 6 and Jimmy Fela at 9. And stream it all live in crystal clear HD on the Extra 106.3 app.
Oh no, what is that sound?
It's our rejection detection system. It's showing that several men across Georgia are being denied intimacy by their partners due to ED.
How can this be?
Well, it's more common than you think. As men age, their bodies change. And unfortunately, once they get over 50, some things don't work like they used to.
So what do we do?
There's only one thing to do. We need to get them to Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He can fix ED problems.
But how?
At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, they are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, and Trimex to create an erection and more.
Hi, this is Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 struggle with some form of ED? Guys, it won't get better on its own. When it's not hard, it's really hard. But I can help you today. Call us at Total Body Therapy of Georgia at 404-777-1911 or learn more about us online at tbtofga.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
It's September 11th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Day of Service and Remembrance, as well as Patriot Day. Since the terror attacks of September 11th, 2001, presidents have called on all Americans to pause and reflect on the nearly 3,000 lives lost in the worst terror attack on U.S. soil. In New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, memorial ceremonies take place where the names of those who died are remembered by survivors and all Americans. Also on this date, in 1941, construction began on the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia. Architect George Bergstrom designed the world's largest office building with more than 6.5 million square foot of floor space. World War II General Leslie Groves oversaw the construction of the building, which was completed in January of 1943. If it's your birthday today, you share it with the founder of NFL Films, Ed Sable, born in 1916. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
Florida firefighters who helped comfort some nervous dogs after a car crash makes today's Dean's List. Gabriella Obregon was driving with her two beloved dogs when she was involved in a car crash. Thankfully, she was okay, and so were her pups, but it was scary. Within minutes, the Palm Beach County Fire Rescue were on the scene, and Gabriella was able to capture the moment on video when the firefighters stopped everything to comfort both dogs and carry them to safety. Gabriella says the men allowed her fur babies to stay in the truck and keep them very calm, going above and beyond the call of duty to help keep her safe and tend to her sweet dogs. And even though her car is no longer drivable, she will never forget the kindness shown to her and her pups. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, thank you for all that you do. You all made today's Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, September 11th. Services were held at the West Cobb Funeral Home in Marietta on Wednesday for a fallen DeKalb County firefighter. Preston Fant was attempting to save another firefighter during a warehouse fire in Stone Mountain. Fant was a 21-year veteran of the DeKalb County Fire Department. He's survived by his wife and 5 children. A GoFundMe account has been set up for his family. Cobb County officials confirmed the weapon found on campus at Pebblebrook High School on Tuesday was a BB gun. Pebblebrook briefly went to a code red lockdown after images of the gun in a school bathroom were seen on social media. 3 students were arrested. School officials say they will be held accountable according to state law and district policies. And the Cobb County Board of Commissioners approved a settlement with Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, and 9 other opioid manufacturers for their role in the opioid crisis. Funds from the settlement will be used to enhance addiction treatment and recovery services as well as prevention programs. Cobb County had the highest number of overdose deaths in Georgia in 2017. Today's weather mostly sunny and clear with a high of 85. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
I'm told that Jessica Tarlov is just the nicest lady in the world. That's what a friend of the show, Joey Jones, lives in Calhoun, from Dalton, Georgia, just salt of the earth kind of dude, served his country, was obviously seriously wounded, and now has done so many extraordinary things and ended up working with Jessica at Fox News. He does The Five. He's done that show a few times, and he's worked with her on other occasions, and guarantees me that she is just the best. But what I can't look away from, Los, is the times that she's wrong, just how wrong she is.
I'm curious where she gets her information. Like, I understand if you're in your own echo chamber and so you kind of make up your own reality, but Jessica Tarlov will routinely say things like when she will point out, she's done this more than plenty of times, well, Donald Trump, his numbers are falling with his voters. And you're like, hold on a second. He's more popular than any president since Barack Obama. It's like, where exactly is this failure? Where exactly are you getting this data? Because even a guy like Harry Enton at CNN will point out this is how popular he is as he goes through a multitude of polls. So where are you getting your information, Tarlov? Here's what I will point out this time around. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made it a point that unless, and this is what he told in front of the Senate committee last week, he's like, if there is not good data for a particular drug, a vaccine, a treatment, then they're not mandating it. That was his point. Now, does that mean it's still available to you? Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, we had all the Looney Tunes go out and get the jab
COVID
just
shots.
to do it.
Like, look, I'm showing him who's boss.
Do it no matter what you say.
Okay, great.
Fine,
you're that person.
Yeah, you're that crazy.
I was like, all right, fine, have at it.
There you go.
I was like, I'm not interested, never been interested. But I want you to take a listen. With that being said, remember, the mandates are over with. If you want to send your kid to school and your state says, well, they're going to need a COVID shot, that's gone. You don't have to worry about that. That's no longer being pushed by the FDA or the CDC. So listen to Tarlov as she now starts pointing out what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has done.
You promised to uphold the highest standards for vaccines and have not done so.
What vaccines has he denied someone?
Oh, right. COVID-19. Exactly.
To who can't get a COVID-19
Eric Erickson's wife, to begin, and Bill Cassidy used...
Wait a second. You mean you can't walk into your doctor's office and get a COVID-19 shot?
Why don't you ever prepare? Why don't you prepare? Kathy Hochul had to do it.
Is this true?
No, it's not true. No, it is true,
He reclassified it.
Stop.
He reclassified
Haley,
it.
you now need a prescription, and CVS and Walgreens is denying it to people because of the quote-unquote regulatory environment. You can thumb your nose at it. You are healthy and lucky you.
This is why
but there are
even
sick
Senator
people.
Warren, I assume you look up to Senator Warren. She said effectively denied. Effectively.
Well, Bill
Notice
Cassidy
the
did it.
Insurance doesn't cover it if you're healthy.
No,
is
that's
that what
not
you're
what I
talking
mean.
about?
I mean that you need a prescription to get it. It is becoming...
No, not true.
Dude, we've seen the crazy lefty loonies right before we started.
You can just
How
go
many
get
of
it.
them? Yeah, are going in there. They have 2 Band-Aids.
It's like trying to say I need a prescription for a flu shot.
No, you don't. They ask you when you go through the drive-thru at CVS. They're like, hey, you want a flu shot?
Hey, you want a flu shot?
Have you had your flu shot? No, thank you. I don't want any part of that either. Just being completely honest. But there's no fear
So why
of
is she
anybody.
telling Jesse Waters, like, why don't you prepare?
Yeah, as
Prepare
she's
for
not
what?
prepared. As she's not prepared. As she's out there sharing wrong information that makes no sense.
Just to be upset? Now, I get it. I think she's an important person to have on the 5 because she
Like
does
a lightning rod character.
She does make people crazy. It's just that where is your information coming from? Because as I joke around about it, if it's from Reddit or Mother Jones, this is why you end up on this side of the argument on a regular basis
Every
where
time.
you look like somebody who is not prepared.
And then have the gall to ask Jesse Waters why are you coming not prepared? Dude, isn't that something though? Isn't that just the way that the left acts?
And only in her view is people have to go fight for a COVID shot.
Yeah, I'm going to go bang down the door to make sure I can get it. Dude, it's insane. Don't you wish she had as many questions for Dr. Fauci as she does for RFK? Do you wish
it'd be helpful?
Wouldn't it? Just for 1 second, could you ask the same amount of questions of Dr. Fauci as you do RFK? Because that I know of, she's never asked a question one about Dr. Fauci. She is just like, yes, whatever, give me that. It is so interesting to see the way that all shakes out. And I know as a guy that has been so out front on the COVID vax, and believe that
I
Dr.
took all
Fauci,
the slings and arrows on that one.
Yeah, but turned out to be right. And Jessica Tarloff continues to turn out to be wrong. It happens over and over and over again. And none of them, none of those on the left, they would never. Maybe they are loyal to a fault.
Well, and I'll give you another example. Let's move over to Rosie O'Donnell. Now, Rosie, who, what did we have from a week and a half ago? So she says that the Minneapolis shooter who shoots up a church, kills 2 kids, that, well, he's a white nationalist who backs Donald Trump, and she spews all the things she did. Then she comes back and she's like, I apologize, I was wrong. I'm like, yeah, it was a tranny.
Yeah.
All right. You had a trans woman pretending to be a woman. It was a man. Who actually couldn't stand being trans and felt like they were...
Wrote that in the manifesto. And then the other thing, did you see the video of him going into the gun store?
Yeah, it looks like a man. Was done being a woman.
Totally done with it. The only thing that even stood out to me had like the little weird scrunchy hair bow kind of thing in the back. I mean, and I've seen dudes do it too with long hair, use those.
No, basically he looked like he was done with the whole trans thing.
Exactly right.
Like, I'm done with it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Shopping at the gun store.
Right. So, being that Rosie O'Donnell took the L on that one, then she decided to go on a podcast. And I will just tell you this. As of this morning, even a guy like Alan Dershowitz said if Trump contacted me and wanted to sue, this would be an easy win. Take a listen to what she said about Donald Trump over the weekend.
One person standing in the way of us all figuring out why his name appears multiple times in the Epstein files. We still don't know why his name appears multiple times in the Epstein files.
We do know why,
Is
Jim.
Donald Trump.
We all know why.
Yeah.
You have to know why. Why else do you think he paid $1 billion to Jeffrey Epstein over the time of their friendship? $1 billion. He wrote in his birthday book, "Here's to all the secrets."
That wasn't even real.
Which we already established with the New York Times had to pull it and go, yeah.
Yeah, it's not real. It's all made up.
And so he gave him $1 billion.
Yeah, somebody would notice that.
I mean, a guy who's worth like $4 billion, he just gave him $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 1/3 or 1/4 of his wealth.
How crazy must you be? But this is the trough, okay? They go to this certain trough, these people that are hardcore left. Like, this is what they go to, and then they establish their own set of facts. Like, the very premise that, well, Donald Trump appears in the Epstein files a multitude of times. Yeah, you know what? He's actually in some of the grand jury testimony. You know what it is? A woman saying he actually was never around.
Yeah, and you had the lawyer saying that he's the only one that's ever assisted. He's the only one that ever gave us the time of day.
That has shown up. Like it is in there.
Ask questions.
And so when you say his name appears in the Epstein files, yeah, as a woman who, when asked, she's like, never was around, didn't know this guy, never did anything that was improper.
Without context, sounds real good.
Yes, I guess.
When you get the context, all of a sudden things change.
I mean, I guess if you wanted to, there's a certain point where, Carlos Medina appears in a police report. Yeah, I witnessed the car wreck and I gave a statement.
That's what I'm saying, without context.
But he was in the police report.
Yeah. Without context.
That's the idea behind all this stuff. So, but this is what the Tarlovs and the Rosie O'Donnell and the Aunt Pegs, this is where they feed at. And then they make up their own information. By the way, if you go over to Walgreens, it'll even tell you COVID-19 vaccine update. This season's COVID-19 vaccine is now available and is approved for all ages, all adult ages 65 plus, and those under 65 with certain health conditions.
So you're telling me it's available. Jessica Tarlov needs to go back on Fox and the 5 and be like, yeah, I guess I need to correct this since I'm so wrong again.
Book your flu shot today. That's available through it as well.
No, thank you. I think I'll pass on all that.
10% off groceries, eligible on select vaccines, including COVID-19, RSV, flu, and more. That's from Giant Eagle Pharmacy.
If you'll get your COVID vaccine, so we get greased by the pharma company, we'll give you 10% off your grocery bill. Get out of here, man. That's the worst deal of all time.
Well, if you take the cancer injector,
we'll give you 10%
We'll give you 10% off your groceries.
What do you think?
You can go.
Thank you.
I tell you what, take your SV40, and while you're doing so, make sure to pick up all the processed meat you can possibly handle.
If you can find yourself some Lunchables, I'd recommend getting those too. The kids will love them.
The kids will love them.
Oh, man, these people just have no idea which way's up, and they continue to out themselves. That's the thing. They do it so publicly. And it's like they don't realize that they can be fact-checked in real time. As soon as she said that, something tells me there are people on social media going, this doesn't add up. This isn't right.
Wouldn't you just, if you're sitting in that chair, if you're in that position, don't you want to be absolutely ironclad with what you're bringing up?
I would like to think so.
Like, I would like to think that my argument, now we might have a difference of opinion on the argument, but that my argument is based on fact, based on law, based on the situation, based on precedent. I'm not just coming up with something that I heard somebody else say.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, I'm leaving it to somebody else to make the decision. It's like I used to have a program director a long time ago in radio, and we would talk about taking phone calls. Mm-hmm. Now, again, phone calls have a direction with every radio show. Like I said, you're always welcome to give us a call here. But when you would have shows that would be directed strictly by their phone calls, the programming director would point out, why would you put your future, your paycheck in the hands of somebody who's calling a radio show and that dictates what you're going to do?
Rush Limbaugh used to say when he did
taking the biggest risk in all of radio.
I loved that.
I'm giving it to you, rank amateurs. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, that's right.
Why would you let them direct what you want to talk about? So it's that concept of Jessica Tarlov is doing, like, letting Reddit or something like that, Mother Jones, dictate what she's bringing up, and it's just flat out wrong.
But dude, that's because that's what she wants to hear.
I guess
that's
so.
what she wants.
Or maybe there's got to be those people
that out.
There's just a way to do it. Like Scott Jennings is the minority on CNN. Why do people listen to Scott Jennings? Because he makes solid arguments. There's never a point where we're playing Scott Jennings audio going, wow, look how we got owned in that.
Yeah, man, somebody really took him down. He's the only one that never gets taken down because he speaks from a common sense point of view that most Americans can understand.
Like, I think there's only maybe a handful of times where I went, okay, you're a little out over your skis, but it didn't have anything to do with politics. It's like a pop culture reference.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard her do that.
It's like you going down the Marvel road.
Yeah, and trying to act like I know what I'm talking about.
Like, uh-oh, here we go. Here goes Tug.
I try to tell people what I know and what I don't. And then if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. Which I have plenty of times. But like you say, man, we just try to be well-read enough to not be lured down that road of completely getting it way wrong. You're not even close to right.
I would like to think, like when I do the story time segment, I try and deep dive into all that information. Most of these things that we bring up, we've already read so much on it, where if somebody out there who's covering it professionally has it wrong, then that's why we're going to get it wrong. Not because I didn't read.
No.
Not because I didn't research.
But Jessica, though, she doesn't care if it's right because what was said matches the story that she wants to paint or the image that she would like to paint. So it worked in her favor, at least in her own mind. She was like, oh, Mother Jones said this? That's exactly what I want to say. I'm going to take that to the air. Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. 6 o'clock hours brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett. When we continue, you do not despise the mainstream media enough. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, September 11th. From the NFL, Week 2 in the league begins tonight with Thursday Night Football. It'll be the 1-0 Green Bay Packers hosting the 1-0 Washington Commanders. The Packers are a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup. That kickoff tonight is set for 8:15. It's now an off day for the Atlanta Braves as the Chicago Cubs took 2 of 3 from them at Truist Park, including a 3-2 finish last night. The Braves, again, will enjoy that off day before continuing the homestand tomorrow night as the Houston Astros will be in town for a weekend series. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Lord, as the weather changes and things go from a little warmer to a little cooler, make sure that your house is ready for whatever temperature is needed, especially during this time. You know, when you're not sure. Some days it's 85, 86, 87 outside. Some days it's 58. You know, things are going back and forth dramatically. And a maintenance agreement at Central Heating and Air Conditioning will make sure that your heating and air is up to the task, whatever that task is, and runs efficiently as long as it possibly can. Lasts as long as it possibly can because, let's face it, HVAC systems are pretty expensive, so you want them to last. How do you make them last? You're going to maintain twice a year. Call Central Heating and Air Conditioning today, and you'll actually speak with a person who can walk you through this. You won't be sent through automation. It's one of my favorite things about calling Central when I do is I know I'm going to talk to somebody. As soon as I dial the number, it is going to be a person on the other end of the line. So reach out to them, 770-GET-HEAT, or go to centralheat.com. Get your maintenance agreement scheduled today. You will not regret it, and neither will the folks that live in your house when they're comfortable all year round with Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hey, it's Los. We're here with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, I'm looking for a reliable vehicle, something for the family, but also for my daughter who's going to be driving soon. Why should I call you?
The main thing is you get to see it's a full transparency sale. What I like to do is show you the whole gamut, show you everything that's out there and everything that's available. I can get any make, any year, any model.
Financing. If I need to use it, what can you offer?
We have some of the best banks available, and we got rates starting at 4.99 from a 23 model and above. It could be a 14 model. We still have banks that will do all the financing for you at good rates, and they're primary banks. If you have credit issues, we still have banks that can accommodate those issues as well.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Join Daniel Madelon, CEO of A Second Chance Bail Bonds, and co-host Tug Cowart as they bring together law enforcement, justice insiders, and voices from every part of the justice system, victims, advocates, and people who've turned their lives around. It's not PR, it's not fluff. It's an honest talk about what's working, what's broken, and how to build a better path forward, one second chance at a time. This week's guest is Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt. Justice Unfiltered. Unfiltered, informed, and unbiased.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Fox on Tech.
Want to fly somewhere close? How about taking an Uber? The ride-hailing and meal-hailing app platform usually shuttles you and your food around on the ground, making use of contracted drivers in their own cars. The company is also working to integrate autonomous vehicles for both human transport and food delivery. But starting as soon as next year, Uber will get a bit faster and a bit farther up in the sky. The company says it will add service from Blade Air helicopters. Blade already provides so-called air mobility service in places like New York City, Long Island, and the Jersey Shore, as well as Dubai and parts of Europe. Blade is now owned by air taxi startup Joby, which is working to bring electric vertical takeoff and landing crafts to Uber's services too. Those are cheaper to operate and fly more quietly. No word yet on fare costs or if you have to share your flight with others. With Fox on Tech, I'm Evan Brown, Fox News.
Need a break from all the political talk? Tune into Holy Crap It's Sports with Pete Davis every weekday at 5:20 on The Kimmer Show. It's your daily dose of what's hot in the sports world, from the field to the locker room, with Pete's unfiltered opinion and a side of laughs. It's smart, it's funny, it's sports with edge. Holy Crap It's Sports. Catch it at 5:15 only on The Kimmer Show on Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on a very somber 9/11. So many things to reflect on today. The attacks of 9/11, and then, of course, yesterday, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This has hit people that I didn't know that it would hit, because we know, Los, the effect that it's having on kids, especially college-age kids, or even like with your kids, middle school, high school-age kids.
The ones that are getting ignored that Charlie Kirk didn't ignore.
That's right. But I just spoke with a grown man that was near tears over this. A grown man who had said, it's funny enough, he was like, I've only stumbled upon Charlie Kirk's stuff in the last several months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was like, but he was so persuasive, and he was so open about his faith, and he was so respectful in the arguments that he made. He's like, I cannot believe what has happened to him in these United States of America.
This is the mistake that I believe you're now seeing on X. The backlash has been so strong that you're now seeing AI videos. You're now seeing him misconstrued. People are trying to put things together to make him out to look like some sort of demon.
Yes, that's right. They have to, because he wasn't.
And that's the problem right now. They're like, well, how do we... It's like, this didn't work. This is not going well.
Just like when they shot Trump.
This is an overplay. Yes.
It's the same thing.
And what that did, that ensured him 7 swing states and the popular vote. I believe you're being very short-sighted in terms of, if this was carried out by the globalist, communist, Marxists, I think they were very short-sighted in their desperation for a win, that they didn't think what was going to happen and be the response of young people, because this is their voice.
It is. And interesting, they're not burning down cities. They're not being destructive. They're being reflective. They're being... They're taking Charlie's words and they're implementing them in their lives. Make sense. Take emotion out of decisions that we talk about. They're telling that, at least for my son, when he called yesterday and told me that he was like, how does this happen in America? And I feel like that in this moment, all of Charlie's words are going to be amplified in a positive way. And all of that negative stuff, all that fake stuff, that's going to fall away, because people are going to know the truth about Charlie. This is a tidal wave that they did not see coming. Just like you said with the Trump thing, they didn't know what shooting at him or shooting him did. They have no idea the can that they've opened up. And I mean it in the most positive, constructive way imaginable.
Now, let me give you an example of that can you speak of that level of, all right, you want to take the gloves off? Let's take the gloves off. I want you to listen that this is within the first half hour of this occurring, and I get it. doing live television and having a live breaking event, there's a reason why Tug and I are very measured when something happens. That we are going to sit back, we're going to try and get information as it comes. We're not just going to run with whatever goes down, and you try and stay unemotional during it. You try and reflect what you're seeing, you try and have that discussion with the audience to paint the picture, but you try not to fly off the handle. This ends up being Matthew Dowd, and I'll give you the other end of the story. This is the Paul Harvey moment. This was him in that first 20, 30 minutes, fog of war. Charlie Kirk has been shot.
Which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Turning Point USA has confirmed that he was shot.
Matthew Dowd was fired within 6 hours of trying to make his grand point that he had it coming. And that's what I think is going on right now. You have seen a woman over at Middle Tennessee State, a school administrator.
Fired. Dude,
she's fired. There's a lot of teachers. There's a lot of people that are going to be without jobs.
There's a lot of ghouls.
Because they thought they bought the perception that Charlie Kirk was some sort of monster. And so, hey, good, we got rid of a monster. Look at what we did. They never considered that this was actually somebody who is a husband, a father, and actually when you see him in his element, in his actions, you watch what he does, you would go, all right, I may not agree with him, but he certainly doesn't have horns and a tail. But they bought that perception.
That's what they pay him.
And they're going to be without jobs. That's where it's going to be different. You're going to see the big backlash.
I hope the Minnesota State Senator Erin Quaid, I hope she feels some of that backlash too from her constituents reaching out and telling her what a disappointment she is. As right as Charlie was assassinated, she shared all kinds of posts trashing Charlie as white supremacist, radicalized, radical. But that's the thing. Like, these people, they have to be punished for their crimes. They have to be held accountable for the things that they do, and whatever they've done, it determines the level of accountability. She needs to be censured, or she needs to be punished in a way that you would do a government official. The lady at Middle Tennessee State needs to be fired, and I think you said she was, so that's good.
She's been fired.
There's plenty more out there that deserve that same treatment for the things. Dude, you can say anything you want to.
Yeah.
You can say anything you want to.
You're welcome to.
But remember, there's always repercussions for doing so. You're free to do it under your First Amendment right. There are repercussions.
And no matter what you think in terms of, like, I got fired because I gave my thought process on Charlie Kirk. Well, first off, you got fired in part because you actually accepted a bunch of crazy talk and then decided, well, I'll just parrot it. All right, you got fired, he got shot and killed. You got off really lucky.
Yeah, you got off easy, pal. When we continue on Xtra 106.3, Charlie Kirk's platform was the opposite of what the jesters at MSNBC say it was. Next, as we mark the passing of Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a changing day in America. And of course, we can't forget the 9/11 attacks that happened 24 years today.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
When I first started using a CPAP, getting supplies and equipment was a horrible hassle. It pretty much stayed that way until I discovered CPAPsetcetera.com. Same-day shipping on anything you might need, including travel CPAPs, hoses, masks, you name it. Same-day shipping. CPAPsetc.com or visit their store in Alpharetta. So easy, and you could be preserving your health and saving your life.
Hey, it's Front Office Lowe's, and running a business is tough. Juggling clients, employees, cash flow,
Why worry about IT? iTech Atlanta can keep your systems running securely and smoothly so that you can focus on your business, minimize downtime, and protect against cyber threats, all at a predictable, fixed, low monthly cost. For 25 years, iTech Atlanta has been helping businesses just like yours. They would love to manage your IT on time and under budget. Learn more. Visit iTechAtlanta.com. We manage your IT so you can manage your business.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Having a safety plan is essential. If somebody breaks into your home or if you find yourself in a confrontation, don't start with a firearm. Start smarter. Start less lethal. Start with Byrna. The Byrna launcher is the most effective self-defense tool available today without the legal, financial, or emotional consequence that come from using a gun. I carry one myself. I recommend every family concerned about safety should have a Byrna too. I just gave one to my son and my daughter who just moved out on their own. The new Byrna compact launcher, it's the world's smallest, less lethal pistol. It's concealable anywhere. It fires powerful kinetic and tear gas rounds, and it can stop an attacker cold for up to 40 minutes. It's easily carried in a purse or a backpack. No background checks. It's legal in all 50 states. Ships straight to your door. And Byrna has protection for every member of the family, from safety alarms to personal defense sprays, trusted by hundreds of law enforcement agencies. It's a Byrna, because your first line of defense should always be less lethal. Visit Byrna, BYRNA.com and find the right launcher for your family. That's Byrna, BYRNA.com.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the Kimmer. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Trump is saying Liberation Day in terms of sending police into Washington, D.C. So now LaMonica is letting us all know that Liberation Day is another way of saying white power.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
Still searching for an assassin. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The gunman who murdered Charlie Kirk.
I want to make it crystal clear right now to whoever did this. We will find you.
Utah Governor Spencer Cox Kirk, an influential conservative activist famous for debating students on college campuses, was assassinated while addressing a crowd at Utah Valley University, where Fox's CB Cotton reports.
The single shot rang out, striking Kirk in the neck and sending the crowd of about 3,000 people into panic. We're told the shots were fired from a building about 200 yards away. Now that massive manhunt is underway for the suspect, with investigators going door to door to people who live in the area to review surveillance video.
The FBI is also asking for the public's help.
Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate.
President Trump calls Kirk's murder a dark moment in America and condemned rhetoric, especially on the left, demonizing people with whom you disagree. Former presidents and political leaders from both parties also condemned political violence. The man charged in the second Trump assassination attempt last year is on trial in federal court in Florida. Ryan Ruth will address the jury in this morning's opening statement since he's defending himself. There was also a shooting yesterday at Evergreen High School in Colorado.
This community's always felt really safe to us and a home.
A student shot two classmates, then himself. He later died. One of the victims is still in critical condition. Today marks 24 years since 9/11, when terrorists crashed hijacked planes, killing nearly 3,000 people.
From New York's World Trade Center.
Second explosion at number 2 World Trade Center on the upper floors.
To the Pentagon.
There were intense fires following the aircraft's impact into the building.
And Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where United Flight 93 crashed.
The only thing you could see was a big gouge in the earth and some broken trees.
The impact of that day remains.
That's Kevin Uretsky. America's listening.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion? That's billion with a B? Yeah. Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Xtra 1063.
Get a Bortz report at end of the hour here on Xtra. The only place to get Bortz is Xtra 1063. It's always a pleasure to talk to him when we do and have his input here on the station. He is a legendary voice who's always brought levity to the conversation. He brings up points of view that not everybody agrees with, but is always worth listening to because he's great to discuss and debate. And I would love, gosh, it'd be great if Neil would. I hope he addresses. I don't know what his sports report is. I know it's just come in, but I hope it addresses the Charlie Kirk situation. Something tells me it probably will.
I can't imagine that it doesn't.
That it doesn't. That's exactly right. So I look forward.
It's on the fly. We're like, well, we're supposed to play in an hour, but you and I are like, let's go listen to it now.
I know, right?
Let's go get it in the background.
Yeah, I do want to hear what Neil has to say about it. And here's the other thing. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think about what this means in America, what Charlie Kirk's assassination at Utah Valley University, what that means for the direction of the country. Where are you emotionally? Where are you spiritually? Because obviously Charlie was a strong Christian and he was welcomed at the pearly gates by Jesus himself, I have no doubt. Where's your head this morning? 404-741-1230. 404-741-1230.
We started this show, if you're just now joining us. I haven't really eaten. Tug hasn't really eaten in like 24 hours. I've just been sick to my stomach.
So sick to my stomach. I felt like I was playing hopscotch, Los. I went back and forth from the absolute saddest that I've been in forever to the most angry I've been in forever. And I was trying to strike the balance and I couldn't figure it out.
I had to spend quite a bit of time yesterday afternoon into the evening figuring out how to box it up. Like, how do you take sadness, anger, and rage, things that I typically do not deal with? Like, I'm pretty much steady Eddie all the time. And how do I take that, put it in a box and go, okay, now how do I start looking at this with a vision that I need to, with a heart that I need to, and start saying, all right, what does this mean? And if you're just joining us, Charlie Kirk's dead because we're winning so badly against these people. We are beating their brakes off. And so how do you create instability within a country? Well, political assassination we've seen from the 1960s works pretty well.
Yeah, it does.
Especially when you want to talk about doing this to he's the golden boy. He's a 31-year-old who has been in this movement since he was 13 years old, started Turning Point when he was 18, 19 years old.
Grew up listening to Glenn Beck.
Did you see the tweet the screenshot of it that was going around yesterday? Was the one I'm from 17 Beck. Years old. I listen to you every day. It was at Glenn Beck.
Yeah. It was from 2011.
Yeah, it's incredible what he was able to do in such a short amount of time, and the ability to persuade in such a short amount of time. And you had the number, was it 3 million that he turned into Republican voters? And these kids, it's not like he did it at with some sort of...
He went in the belly of the beast.
That's right. He went to the place that he's not welcome and yet was respectful the entire time. I never saw him lose his cool with anybody. I never saw him be disrespectful to anybody. in all the videos, and I mean there's thousands of them from everybody's perspective, his and his social media team to people just filming that were there. Never one time. He built his entire platform on let's just talk about the things we disagree with.
And that is worth pointing out, and I think that's why it was so different. College campuses bring in speakers on a regular basis, and what are they there to do? They're there to speak to you. Charlie Kirk was there to talk with you. That's why he's dead. He's dead because he was actually listening to young people and having discussions with them, and turned 3 million young people going into the belly of the beast into Republican voters. And more than anything, people that actually gave, and sometimes a first or second look, to faith, to family, to the American dream. And he was the only person talking to these people in this way.
He took the popular culture and turned it on its head. Because it was never, dad's the leader of the household and is married to mom for their entire life and have kids that they raise and love and are have dinner together. But that's what he talked about. He made the Christian lifestyle. He made a traditional American value lifestyle a popular thing again. Something that, and you had the polling 2 days ago, I believe, where it said young men, the thing that they want to do more than anything else, get married, have a family.
Young men who voted for Donald Trump, number 1 was have a family. Like number 3 was get married. I mean, it was, how do I create this core of stability in my life moving forward? Whereas young women, 18 to 29, who voted for Kamala Harris, having a family was dead last on their list.
Charlie is the reason that those numbers are the way they are, as far as the young men, for sure, because that's who he connected with like no other.
But young women, we would talk about leading up to the 2024 election. We're like, what's going to happen with the suburban women? Because Donald Trump really struggled with suburban women in 2020. Next, you can't trust any of those numbers in 2020, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding, including the jobs.
But part of what occurred was that the young people who had decided status quo, what's going on in this country, I don't have an interest in it. They were in large part moved because people like Charlie Kirk, most notably the guy who was going on to campus and talking to them and putting himself in harm's way. You know, it's different when you hear, like Megyn Kelly. God bless her. She was so upset yesterday. Same thing with Glenn Beck. Yes.
Had a tearful moment together.
And they talked about the need to continue Charlie Kirk's legacy by go on campus. All right. The issue is going to be go on campus, be in some sort of performance area, and it's going to be lots of security. That was different than what Charlie Kirk did for 9 years. And I don't think anybody is going to have an interest in doing what Charlie Kirk was doing for 9 years and putting yourself out there in that way.
Probably not, but I guarantee you there are going to be more Charlie Kirks because of the influence that he had. I believe there will be more kids that will speak their mind, that will be okay with saying, I'm not falling into the trap of these political elites that tell me that my values are wrong or that my values are evil. I'm not going to do that. Even if they don't speak like Charlie Kirk did, if they live like he did, Los, that's going to be enough. That's going to be a huge factor for the security and the future of America.
So I'm going to give a quick shout out to Calvin. He reached out to me on Twitter and he asked about me bringing up Gen Z and bringing up Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen. And what I will tell you, Calvin, is that most of my attention to what is going on politically with that age group comes from Charlie Kirk, comes from an interview, even the last one that I watched, where I spent 3 hours with it, was with Tucker Carlson and him talking about the challenges of these young people. Because while I've noticed it, I've talked about how important it is, Charlie Kirk is the guy with the helmet who's like on the ground floor being like, okay, we're building something here, but I know what their challenges are. That's the reason why when you start asking, did one thing have to do with another? Yeah.
Everything builds on
it did, because he was willing to move the needle in the way that he did and was creating a movement and had young people that were now moving away from communism, They were moving away from socialism. They were moving back towards traditional values. And as he would tell people on campus regularly, he's like, if your life goes this way, if you choose to accept this personal responsibility, if you choose to accept love in your heart, oftentimes this is going to be from a Judeo-Christian background, your life's going to be so much better.
And he's right.
And to look on their faces of like, he wasn't feeding you some sort of magic potion or some weird guru stuff. He was just telling you, if you happen to have a traditional life, you'll be amazed how fulfilling it is.
Dude, I'm much older than Charlie Kirk, obviously. But I've always believed in that. There's never been a time in my life where I didn't believe that Christ was my Lord and Savior, and that my wife was the love of my life and my best friend, and my joy comes in my son. Do I enjoy a variety of things? Of course. But the ones that are the most important to me have never changed, and they will never change. And it doesn't matter who's in the office of the president. Now, look, are they going to try to put pressure on me? Yes, Joe Biden was clearly, and we can play you a piece of audio of Joe Biden telling me that my way of believing and Charlie Kirk's way of believing was extreme.
Made you a threat.
They made me. A matter of fact, do you have that? Can we play this? This was 3 years ago.
The Philadelphia speech.
When he told the American people, 50% of us that believe that traditional values and traditional America is good, that we were the enemy.
We must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
It's unbelievable to hear him say that.
When I hear
flashing
that,
back.
Yeah, when I hear that, all I hear is him saying, these regular Republicans, you can just take regular and just be like establishment.
Yes, exactly.
Because the establishment on both ends wanted you to accept the status quo, put your head down, go to work, you idiot, make sure you pay your taxes.
Do what you're saying.
Stay out of our way.
Do what you're told and shut up.
And your system rejectors, your people that said, no, we're doing this differently. This is not the way things are supposed to be. As Donald Trump pointed out, I've been given this power to give it back to people. That was one of his speeches that he's done recently. And so much of what we were getting from people, especially when it came to Charlie Kirk, he was telling young people about self-determination and that you can make the life that you want to if you're willing to accept personal responsibility. And then would just sit there and answer questions. And the debate was going from there. And I love the fact that when you see some people, like one of my favorite ones, is when there's an atheist, or who knows, maybe he was a Satanist.
He's the dude with
He's got the pentagram on.
Yeah, he's the devil. He swore he called himself a Satanist.
And at no point was the discussion. You didn't even get a raising of the heartbeat. It never got above 80 for Charlie Kirk. He just let you know.
He's like, there's nothing in the Bible that no one's ever been able to prove archaeologically, with the passing of stories through time. He went through, in that same discussion with that man, he went through
with a Satanist
or
an atheist, whichever one,
or probably both over the years. But he said to the man, why would so many people go to a brutal death over a lie that they knew was a lie?
All you have to renounce is, hey, Jesus Christ, he's not the Lord and Savior.
And we won't stone you to death. We won't cut your head off. And none of them did.
Tell us he wasn't resurrected.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that was the beauty of what Charlie did. Like, I love what you said. His blood pressure didn't go up at all.
No.
Because he believed what he was speaking.
He just basically made it a point. Let's have the discussion. And I think there was a multitude, but like two of the things that were really bothering me yesterday, obviously young children. That just tears you up.
The video of his little girl going across the floor at Fox News Channel when he had been on Fox and Friends, and jumping into her daddy's arms.
As a guy with 2 daughters,
I can't.
Too hard. The other part was to think that the reason why, not just the organizational standpoint, and you can have people, well, I mean, look what he had coming. But the guy was the epitome of it's free speech time. And you can have dumb speech, and that's fine. You can have hate speech. I sit back and I'm like, I love hate speech. Why do I love hate speech? Because now I know who I want to avoid, who I don't want to be around. Let me know how hateful you are, and I'm going to go, don't need to be around that. That's why.
Other direction.
But he was killed for speech.
No, he was.
For a discussion.
And the thing is that he never raised his voice over. He never got hateful over. He never impugned anyone. He never made fun of anyone.
Well, there was the one time when somebody yelled at, now it's the only time I can recall, when one person went after a guy on stage and he shouted him, not in defense of himself. It was in defense of the other guy. He got really upset. I was like, that's the one time I ever, and of all things, it wasn't because you went after Charlie Kirk. Yeah. You went after somebody else, and Charlie's like, yeah, not allowing that one.
But that's the thing. He was always respectful. And it's crazy to think that he was murdered because of civil discourse. What we all say we want, what both sides say that we want. And he actually laid it out. He actually lived it and was assassinated for it.
If you missed it when we talked about this the opening hour, I do believe that so much of this comes down to the destabilization of our society, that we're in a place right now where things are going so well, so strong, that this was a way to cause a lot of havoc within our society.
We're so fortunate to be joined by the talk master, Neil Bortz, this morning. Neil, how you feeling, bud?
Okay, put me on just for a second.
Oh, yes, there you are.
There you are, Neil.
There we are. We got you, Neil.
Yeah, here I am.
How you feeling this morning?
I have to order breakfast. Could you hold on a second?
Okay, well, we'll come back to Neil.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a break and we'll come back with Neil? That sounds like a great idea. I'll produce on the fly.
This sounds good. Here we go. Next with Neil Bortz on Extra.
Listen to the Morning Extra, The Kimmer Show, Neil Bortz, and all your favorite Extra 106.3 personalities whenever you want with the all-new Extra app. It's anytime show replays, all your favorite podcasts, and the latest political news from across Georgia. Download the Extra 106.3 app now for Apple or Android.
Make that house that you live in the envy of the neighborhood and the one that you've loved for as long as you've owned it. Make it... give it that sparkle that it used to have. Give it that shine that it used to have. The exterior of the home, the part that everybody sees. Give it what it needs. New windows, new doors, new siding, new roofing, new gutters. Just give it a good old facelift. And that way, when you pull up into your house, you're proud to make that payment at the end of the month. It's not something that you're having to do because you signed your name and you wish you hadn't have. So Southern Exteriors right now are offering a great deal, whatever you want to do. Any of the things that I mentioned, you can get 10% off for any or all of those jobs. Repairs to your roof, repairs to the siding, or replacing altogether. Or you can get 0% financing for 12 months. It is totally up to you. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call them at Southern Exteriors, 877-9-SOUTHERN or southernexteriors.co. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co.
More than intelligent, it's thoughtful. Not just spacious, it's sensuous. And along with the sure-footed all-wheel drive, the GLC SUV is now available as an efficient, effusive, and effective plug-in hybrid. Get an exceptional offer on the 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e 4MATIC SUV. Just $429 per month for 24 months with $54.73 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the RBM of Atlanta's fall sale sales event, now through September 30th. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through September 30th, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly Magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, community businesses, and events, like the Superior Plumbing Presents North Georgia State Fair.
Hi, I'm Missy with the Superior Plumbing Presents North Georgia State Fair at Jim R. Miller Park, September 18th through the 28th. Enjoy the fun, the food, and amazing entertainment, including the Carriage Kia Grandstand Series. We're bringing back advanced pay one price ride tickets, plus free parking this year. Save money and enjoy a smoother experience. Visit NorthGeorgiaStateFair.com for daily deals and discover why we were voted Best Festival and Family Amusement 7 years in a row. That's NorthGeorgiaStateFair.com.
Friends, I'm getting my tickets. Are you? The North Georgia State Fair is more than an event. It's a tradition. And remember, Our Town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
I'm Michelle Stovall, and our company has been family-owned and operated for 75 years. Check us out at StovallINC.com, or better yet, stop by our newly opened 11th store at 9500 Union Hill Road in Canton. At Stovall, we supply you with all your landscaping project needs, completely hassle-free down to delivery. Been dreaming of an outdoor kitchen, fireplace, or other custom paver project? We partner with Keystone Hardscapes for all your beautiful high-end concrete needs. We look forward to making your landscape dreams come true. Stovall has it all.
Hey Atlanta Braves fans, this is Kelly Kroll asking you to step up to the plate for the men and women who have served our country and protected our freedom. The Warrior Alliance, an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, is helping thousands of veterans to achieve success after military service. Either you or someone you know has served and deserves our support. The best way to say thank you for your service is by helping a veteran round the bases on their journey home. Donate today at thewarrioralliance.org.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, September 11th. Services were held at the West Cobb Funeral Home in Marietta on Wednesday for a fallen DeKalb County firefighter. Preston Fant was attempting to save another firefighter during a warehouse fire in Stone Mountain. Fant was a 21-year veteran of the DeKalb County Fire Department. He's survived by his wife and 5 children. A GoFundMe account has been set up for his family. Cobb County officials confirmed the weapon found on campus at Pebblebrook High School on Tuesday was a BB gun. Pebblebrook briefly went to a code red lockdown after images of the gun in a school bathroom were seen on social media. 3 students were arrested. School officials say they will be held accountable according to state law and district policies. And the Cobb County Board of Commissioners approved a settlement with Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, and 9 other opioid manufacturers for their role in the opioid crisis. Funds from the settlement will be used to enhance addiction treatment and recovery services as well as prevention programs. Cobb County had the highest number of overdose deaths in Georgia in 2017. Today's weather mostly sunny and clear with a high of 85. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. 7 o'clock hours brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. Joined by the Talkmaster Neil Bortz on Extra 106.3. Neil, thanks for taking the time to reach out to the show. What is your immediate feeling about the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Well, we're at a lovely House of Waffles in Tifton, Georgia.
Right on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, and getting strange looks.
I'm sure.
We were a little bit in the Valdosta area when I heard of this last night. I wish I could say I was shocked. I wasn't. I was horrified. But I've been saying for a while that since the left thinks that speech is violence and that they're entitled to respond to violence with violence, just been kind of waiting for this to happen. But I'll tell you one thing, when they catch this guy, and God, I hope they do, watch how fast the left starts setting up GoFundMe pages for him.
I'm sure of that. The governor out in Utah said we will, enforce this to the strictest restriction of, to the furthest extent of the law. But he said the death penalty is still active here in Utah.
Yeah, they were very cognizant of pointing out we're going to make sure that we make an example, whoever this person is. But I guess that's the other concerning part. This had such a feel of a professional operation.
Oh, my God, dude.
That when you have a shooter from 200 yards out, and what the word is from the police is that they believe this was a .338 caliber weapon, which if you know your sport hunting, or what has been used since the 1980s as a military sniper type of round, that has a small insert and then blows the back out of. I mean, that was what the wound was. That's right. A sniper kill wound.
Yes.
To then see the escape, to then have one person screaming on the ground about shooting Charlie Kirk, have them apprehended. We've now had two different people apprehended and both turned loose, as if we're there to cause the distraction to let the primary person get away. It's, as I keep saying, you've been winning on so many fronts, and the left is now so desperate. The globalists is so desperate with what is going on in this country that I believe this ends up being the retort to all that winning. That at no point have we had anything that's where the American people have said, well, that's too far. That's too far. Like no, they haven't turned on Trump the way that people were expecting, or how it was being engineered.
But when you say too far, nothing that Donald Trump has done has been extreme in any position. Close the border. Send people who came here illegally that we don't know their backgrounds, we don't know who they are, send them back to where they're from. That is not extreme.
Okay, but it is for me if I deride my power from there.
Oh, no, of course. Right. But I'm saying for the American people, that's why the American people don't look at Trump and go, I'm separating from him.
And this is me being devil's advocate with you. This is me putting on my Aunt Peg hat.
Of course, yeah.
When you say I'm closing the border, I'm looking around at me and my other Aunt Peg friends, and I'm saying he's actually taking our votes away.
That's right.
He's removing our power. This is how we've derided. This is what we've been able to do to build up what we've been able to build up. And he's going after it. No matter how many times we bring up the abuela, the person who just wants to paint your house, the American people are still riding with him.
That's right.
And everything you can bring up from there, like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Peg hat.
No, of course. But that's the thing, though. The American people don't see it that way, or at least the voting majority of the American people. That's why his polling numbers are still good. That's why these issues are 80-20 every time. The 80% of Americans see closing the border as a good thing. Aunt Peg, of course, not. Leftist, of course, not. But they don't see it as extreme. That's why they can't separate.
So you, as the Trump man, you roll in military forces into D.C. in order to stabilize the entire area and to make sure that crime goes down in the way that it needs to. And here I am as Aunt Peg. I'm talking about you're making them live in a police state. It's horrible. I can't believe it. And guess what? Most of the Americans are with you, not me.
Yeah, they're saying.
So when that continues to occur, the backlash, all that the communist, statist, leftist, globalist knows is violence.
That's right.
It's always violence.
But most of them don't believe their own BS, Los. That's the other thing. We have this cut from Dan Turlington. He is a Democrat. He's a Democrat speaker, and when he talks about that specific thing, rolling people into D.C., this is what Democrats really think about, not what they say on TV. What they really think about it.
After being in D.C. for 2 days, it is remarkable how much this issue is tying Democrats in knots. Because I talked to several staffers who said, it was actually really nice to go into Union Station and see the markets full again, to see people in there, the homeless people out. Like, these are super progressive staffers who in public are like total, Trump is Hitler. Yeah. Who were like, man, it's been great. Yeah. And my boss, most people are advising their members, stay silent. Don't touch this because it's working, but they don't want to give Trump credit in public. And it is remarkable how much they're tied in pretzels.
See, isn't that crazy? They don't even believe their own BS, Los.
All right, so the first thing is he's stolen my pretzel.
Yes, he did. That's right.
They're into pretzels.
Yeah, that's right.
Call it the pretzel moment.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like you actually realize what is going on, and now you have to argue against your own self.
It's unbelievable. They don't believe their own BS. He's saying the progressives in D.C. are celebrating in silence.
But don't you understand? Silence is violence.
That's what they've told us.
Right?
That's what they've told us.
No.
It's not. It's all. Everything they've told you has been a lie from day one. Everything. they've told you has been a lie.
I got my list here, Tug. So remember when it was, well, we're going to lose 15 million people. I think it was 15 million. Might have been somewhere in that area. Remember, USAID is gone. We're going to lose 15 million people to this. That's what this university study told us. And you know what the American people did? Okay.
Okay. We're not funding
that stuff anymore. But remember, that was the retort.
Sure.
Remember, when it came to the big, beautiful bill, this is going to crash the economy. This is going to be horrible. None of it happened. April 1st, here's all the tariffs. You're going to cause massive inflation. Here's what's going. And I point these things out because the left has continued to try and separate Donald Trump from his voters. They've just gotten to the point now where after loss after loss after loss, where do we get those Epstein files? Nothing burger. What do you think they're going to do? They've lashed out in violence. Violence is their last tactic. It was their last resort. We got into Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is doing really well in the election. All the internals look great. Well, let's try and shoot him. And when that didn't work, after the RNC, well, let's go down to Florida. See if we can get somebody else to shoot him.
Yeah, that's right. And now that man is defending himself. Look, I guarantee he's wondering where those Democrats are. Those people that put him in the position to do what he did. And he's wondering, where's the backup? Where's the cavalry? They told me they had my back. What they didn't tell you, they had your way back.
Way in the back.
They're because you were a tool. You were used as a tool. And in your feet, your mission failed completely, and it did nothing more but inspire Americans to say, what has been happening in this country is wrong. When they burned down a city, it was wrong. And we refused, no matter how angry and sad we are over the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we will not behave the way that y'all do. We will not behave the way the left does. And I read this to Los earlier. It's from Wired Magazine. They're goading you right now.
Yes.
They want you to react violently. Do not. You react the way you're supposed to, with common sense and American values. Here's the quote from Wired Magazine, a leftist magazine. War is here. The far right demands Charlie Kirk shooting be is a call for violence. It is not. That is what they are saying. It's not what we're saying, and it's not what you know to be the truth. You do not fall for this nonsense. That's what they want you to do.
Let's be very clear about the objective here. Because of the way things are moving, because of the losses that the left, the globalists, the socialists is piling up, loss after loss after loss, their plan is, how do we destabilize American society to the point that American society turns on this administration? If we can cause enough havoc, because remember, 2020 was about havoc.
Yeah, it was.
And drop boxes and burning of American cities, that when here comes Joe Biden as, he's just a little Red Riding Hood. He's just here to fix things. We're going to build back better. I'm going to stabilize I'm a centrist. And then the communism kicked in really hard after he got into office. Started on day one.
That's because he was nothing more than the mouthpiece.
So when you failed at all of your other operations, when you've been completely unable to stop this administration, and they're piling win after win after win on top of you, to the point where Donald Trump can talk about rolling in government officials to American cities to get them under control, and nobody says a word other than thank you, that sounds great. They don't have an answer for this other than, how do we destabilize the country, cause violence everywhere, so that people look at this administration and say, we need a new administration.
What they want you to do is react.
Yes.
Do not. You do what you always have done. You go to the ballot box and you never stop speaking your mind, because they want you to be scared. They want you to be scared of your American values and your traditional values. My son, when he called me last night, he said, this happens in countries like Russia and China. You can speak your mind in America. That's what the First Amendment is. He was so concerned. He was like, how can I be afraid to say what I believe in the country that I live in? That's what they want. They want you to shut up. They want you to be quiet. They want you to say, no, I'm not going to bring up Jesus' name. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm afraid of what might happen. They want you to be terrified. And killing Charlie Kirk was the first step in making you stop talking. talking.
You're not going to beat these demons with violence.
No, you're not. That's exactly right.
You're going to have to beat them by showing up and by talking. Beat them at the ballot box. Beat them in hearts and minds. That's how you do it.
Just speak the truth. You'll beat them speaking the truth.
You will beat them speaking the truth about what is really going on and what really matters. And when you find one that's way out there, just let them alone. There's nothing you can do for them. If there's something that we've seen when it comes to what has been on X and posts and TikTok in the last 24 hours, there's a lot of sick people out there.
A lot.
You're not going to be able to help them all. There are just some lost causes, but they are the minority. They're the 19% that's going to keep falling. That's what they're down to. They are down to desperation, and that desperation showed itself in Utah yesterday.
There's a young Democrat. I'm just seeing this town hall on social media.
And by the way, don't argue with a lot of them because a lot of them are fake anyway.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many fake accounts on X of people that don't actually exist.
Do not argue with them. Listen to this, though. This young Democrat, and this is a video of this kid, the one that's saying my party's the worst.
The one that was sitting on the step?
No. This we'll play him too. But this kid is saying the assassination of Charlie Kirk proves that my party is the effing worst. Because that's where I want to drive this. There are going to be people that celebrate it.
Yes.
But then there's going to be people that see the truth and make the adjustment in their life.
I did see a picture of a gentleman who, when he was younger, had taken a picture at a promotional event with Barack Obama. He talked about being a fundraiser during that time period. And his point was, and today I decided to become a registered Republican.
That's exactly right. And maybe this kid...
It's just far too violent. Far too violent.
That's exactly right. There will be people that wake up. That's all you can hope for, right? That's what you got your fingers crossed for. That's what you pray for.
Yeah, does this represent you? Is this what it is? Here's the mirror.
That's exactly right. You look at what you've done. It's almost like scolding a child. Do you feel good about what you've done? And every time the answer is no. Now you have to help them understand why that they've done the wrong thing and they've chosen unwisely. But you foster that conversation and there'll be more of those kids, just like this young man.
Now, if this is an organized operation beyond just some nutter who decided I'm going to take a shot at Charlie Kirk,
which we both feel like it is,
I keep going down the road of where was your concealment point? What kind of weapon were you using? What kind of accuracy? The escape from the area. And then obviously the distraction of the people that were yelling in the way that they were, and suddenly you have the police like, we've apprehended this person. No, everyone was saying, hey, no, this shot came from a ways away. This wasn't on top of Charlie Kirk in the way that they were dealing with this stuff. With all that being pointed out, the next response in all of this is they're either depending on you to get violent or they're going to artificially create this violence. They're going to find some nutty person to strike back. And just know, the more you keep from being part of any of this stuff, the easier it is to recognize that this is the deep state antics.
That's right.
That's right. Think about it. When we were talking about what had gone on in Pennsylvania and having Donald Trump get shot, and we said, it's so weird that we had these stand-down orders as far as the amount of people that were able to work the area in Secret Service.
That's right.
And they're like, how did you get up on this building? And I know the tinfoil hat is going on. But we then had that shooter's space professionally scrubbed.
Yes. His home was scrubbed. The place where he was shot, his DNA evidence on the roof, scrubbed.
His social media, scrubbed. So if you don't think this stuff exists, where the deep state does try and make moves to survive, if we find out more about whoever this shooter is, and if we don't find out, I think it really screams this is what it is. But this was this one end. The other end is going to be attacking something to make it look like it's what we did.
Absolutely. Watch out for it.
To cause problems.
Do not participate. Do not fall into the trap. You be peaceful. Because that's what Charlie did.
And keep talking.
And you never shut your mouth. You never stop telling the truth. And we will never stop telling the truth. This is the Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. When we come back, Senator Van Hollen issues a statement about political violence, and it goes directly against what he said the day before. Next on Extra.
latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, September 11th. From the NFL, Week 2 in the league begins tonight with Thursday Night Football. It'll be the 1-0 Green Bay Packers hosting the 1-0 Washington Commanders. The Packers are a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup. That kickoff tonight is set for 8:15. It's now an off day for the Atlanta Braves as the Chicago Cubs took 2 of 3 from them at Truist Park, including a 3-2 finish last night. The Braves, again, will enjoy that off day before continuing the homestand tomorrow night as the Houston Astros will be in town for a weekend series. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Time now for the Retire Wise Report. James Parker here with financial advisor Sean Maloney, founder and CEO of Retire Wise. So when we go through days or weeks of volatility in the market, Sean, it's hard to know what to do. What can you tell us?
The biggest thing is don't panic or make immediate decisions with your money. Take those emotional concerns out of the middle of it. You know, look, markets cycle regularly. Market corrections and bear markets are a normal part of the cycle. They're just part of the plan that are going to be accounted for. If you feel nervous when you read the headlines about big drops in the market, you might not know enough about how your money is positioned. That's why it's important to get the right guidance on a financial plan for your retirement.
Tell us about the offer you have for our listeners.
All right, so now's the time to start, folks. Looking ahead and identifying if you have too much risk in your portfolio. That's the first thing. We have a helpful little resource for our listeners today. We call it the Retire Happy Framework Toolkit. You can get it today by calling or texting WISE to 770-802-2200. My team helped put together this just for you, and it's a complimentary guide. And the center of this is a copy of my latest book, The Priority of Retirement, plus guides on major topics like investments, Social Security, income planning, taxes, and so forth of the key components of retirement. So if you want to get this information in your hands today, call or text WISE to 770-802-2200. That's 770-802-2200.
Take advantage of this offer and get your Retire Happy Framework today. Just text WISE to 770-802-2200. The team at Retire Wise will get you your Retire Happy Framework to you right away. So just call or text WISE to 770-802-2200. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Firm does not provide tax services.
Hey, it's Los. We're here with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, I've learned a lot about this car buying process from you. Is that typical of most of the clients you've worked with?
Yeah, I'm finding out it's even more typical. I mean, people are learning more and more, and maybe it's because I overload them with information because I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to make sure you know everything.
Do I have to have a particular make and model in mind when I call you, or is it just open to anything I want?
It's open. I can get any make, any year, any model.
I might be looking to trade in my vehicle. Can you accommodate that as the honest car guy?
For sure. I mean, we love it when people want to trade in cars because honestly, it's best for you to trade in a car. Why? Because you get a tax savings.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the honest car guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog in our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards, so you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
Extra 106.3 personalities aren't afraid to tell it like it is.
Without Donald Trump, nothing that's going on would be happening right now. Donald Trump is changing the world.
And you'll never hear us spew that violent rhetoric from the left. So don't be afraid to tell it like it is, because we're happy to have you as part of the Extra community.
I particularly like Donald Trump's actions in getting illegal aliens the hell out of this country.
Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra on an extraordinary day in American history. In 9/11, 24 years later. That's something that I feel like is getting looked over a little bit today, and I don't mean for it to, as everybody remembers where they were when 9/11 happened. You can't forget. But I will say, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, you will never forget where you were in the moment that happened. There are two extraordinary events that happened a day apart in American history.
Is it not indicative of what happens with the passage of time that our horror was 9/11? You were on a naval ship, I believe. I was sitting in a college classroom. And yet, we were both completely shocked, knew we were at war, and then it turned into, wow, that's 3,000 Americans just gone on a military operation in one day. Yesterday will be that for that same age group.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be their 9/11. That's
It'll
right.
be their person who was speaking for them, who was their champion. I don't think we can say this and do a good enough job with it. Charlie Kirk is the MLK for young people of this generation of 18 to 29. He was the only person talking about trying to get them a chance. He was that person who was talking about the American dream has to be available for you. And here's how we're going to do it. And here's how it's going to look. In the same way that in the 60s you had the backlash. Remember, the FBI made it a point. We're going after MLK. He's too destabilizing for society. He's too much trouble. We're going to do whatever we can to take this guy off the board. This is what happened to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was moving the needle with young people, which has been the great reservoir for the left. We'll always have the young people. No, you didn't. It was because of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. And then I don't know that the young people ever go back to the left. Now, there will be some. I mean, look at New York City. There's plenty. New York City is about to vote for a communist, so there's plenty that will, I guess. But I think there's so many kids that have had their eyes opened the way that 9/11 opened my eyes. 9/11 changed my world perspective. It changed everything. I was 24 years old. My son, now 21, and has a similar event take place in his lifetime that has made him question humanity, makes him question politics, makes him question everything that goes on. He was like, I don't know that I can sit in a restaurant and not face the door.
Yeah.
Like that's
the concern.
That was the concern. That was what was going through his head.
Oh, well, no, when our age group, none of us liked being up in a tall building.
Yeah.
We were all wondering.
Or afraid to fly.
Yeah. That was part of the long-term damage that did to us, the searing in our memories of what that day and what it looked like and what occurred and how it changed American life. And one of the great BS moments of all of that was, well, the terrorists did it because they hate your freedom. Remember, it was always, they hate your freedom.
Yep.
No, they hate us because they grow up and they're taught that we're the great Satan.
That's right.
They thought what they were doing was noble. I'm not saying it. What I'm pointing out is that we put it into a mental construct that we could understand. Well, I love freedom. They hate me for it. That's why I hate them. We could not rationalize in our own minds that people had read their own Quran and were told that we were the great Satan and that what they were doing they considered justified. Like we couldn't understand that. I think that's what's going to be what happens with these young people, that if you happen to speak and talk about things like Charlie Kirk, they hate you.
Think about that. You summarized it so well. I just take it one step further to say the mainstream media does exactly what that the Quran had done to those people that were radicalized.
Yes.
The mainstream media does that every day. They've been calling Trump Nazi for 10 years.
They justify it. That's what they do. And so they didn't hate us for our freedom. They were taught to hate us. It's the same way.
Mainstream media is teaching
you to hate these people.
And the country. Don't forget that.
If you believe in any sort of traditional value, and I thought one of the prettiest things that I saw that was posted, and this was a producer who had worked with Charlie Kirk. He said, "Thanks for helping a lost generation learn to love their country." When you're young, man, you're just looking for stuff. Like you're trying to figure it out. And when you've been indoctrinated into hate this country, hate this, these people are wrong, but then you learn that, hey, maybe I've been lied to. Maybe this is the greatest country in the world. Is it like that all the time? No. Can it be? Yeah.
Yes. Is it flawed? Of course. Everything is.
But what are the possibilities here? And that was the message that Charlie Kirk had to these young people, and it was working.
And the mainstream media.
This is their 9/11.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. The mainstream media. I want you to hear from Senator Van Hollen, just to emphasize the point, because 16 hours ago he tweets out, violence is never the answer. It's never acceptable. Never. But the day before he had said this.
We're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Whatever is necessary to save the country. What is necessary, Chris? What do you think it is?
What
Senator?
exactly are you suggesting?
Right. You're at war. What do you do at war? Why are you at war? Why are we not in debate? Why wouldn't he have said, let's debate the other side and come up with the best answer? He didn't. He chose the word war.
I truly hope for this audience and those people that listen, you've ever thought, hey, maybe he's just being rambunctious. Maybe he's just trying to get a rise out of me. When I have told you there is such a thing as the elite top of the party communist and then the street animal communists. These are the people they're known as useful idiots. Now, that's not supposed to be like some sort of like insult. That's what the KGB referred to those people that were doing the work of the KGB. Hey, they're useful until we got to get rid of them. They're useful idiots.
Ryan Ruth is finding that out now.
Yes. What he's doing is he's sitting there as one of the elites. I'm one of the elites in the party. I'm here to take the country and do what I want with it. But he's reminding the street animals, hey, you might have to do something for us to get this thing done. They do exist.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They do exist. The street animal in every single communist takeover in the history of this world is incredibly important until they're not. Until they become disillusioned, and then the elite communist puts them against the wall and gets rid of them. They treat them like dogs, but they are useful during this time period when they're trying to go through chaos, mayhem, and changing the country.
And those useful idiots are promised.
You'll be part of it. You're coming along for the ride.
Absolutely. Doesn't that sound
good, comrade?
Doesn't that sound eerily similar to we're going to take care of everything for you?
Yes. It's always the same.
We're going to get your health care. We're taking care of your food. We're paying for the buses. We're doing it all.
Well, the people who have victimized you, because you've got to buy into a victim mentality.
That's right.
If you buy the victim mentality, that's where it starts. It then turns into, I'm going to get even with those people who have victimized you.
Yeah, we're going to
give me the power. I'll do it. So, yeah. It's the next day, and you have one of the great people who speaks of personal responsibility, freedom, and traditional values in this country, and he is publicly shot and killed in a way that is going to be scarring to this entire country, especially to young people who looked at Charlie Kirk as, that's the guy who's here for me. That's the one who's speaking up for me.
And he speaks the way I speak. He believes the things I believe.
Charlie Kirk is the reason why when I would tell you about young people and how they are with us, they are with a populist movement, but you can lose them, and this is how. That was almost directly from what Charlie Kirk has been pointing out. I was listening to Charlie Kirk so I could get a better idea of what these challenges of these young people are. Because I'm a middle-aged man with 2 kids and a wife with back pain. I'm not really too concerned. I'm not really inundated with like what the 18, 19-year-old is doing. Now, when they're in our studio, I want to talk with them. I want to see what the story is. And what I've learned is they have a whole lot of belief in that the world's going to be better, but they're also realistic about it. And until we start taking care of those realistic challenges, you can possibly lose these people. That's what Charlie Kirk was trying to tell you.
I think the mistake the left made is that we're not going to lose those people. We're actually creating more of them.
What was it? These organizations stopped signing up people because they found out that the young black and Hispanic people were voting for Republicans and not them.
The NGOs stopped signing people up to vote because they were voting for Trump. The murder of Charlie Kirk is going to change young people in America forever. We'll continue after the top of the hour, the Fox News break. You get a Neil Bortz report and a Fox News update, and then we'll come back. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you at 404-741-1230.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
The Queen and I are actually on the road right now in the Bortz bus. So this morning before we pull out, I wanted to grab the iPad, oddly enough, and record a new commentary for today. Of course, it's about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Number one, please notice that in the media, if it's a left-wing media outlet, they'll refer to it as a murder. Right-wing, they'll refer to it as an assassination. Just an odd difference. But violence by leftists against conservatives is on the way up. We've had 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life. Elon Musk threatened with assassination. 2 staffers at the Israeli embassy in Washington killed. The United CEO killed by a violent leftist anti-capitalist. In fact, a poll shows that 48% of liberals think it would be okay to murder Elon Musk. 55% of liberals say it would be okay to assassinate President Trump. I brought this up a long time ago when I said that liberals are starting to say that speech is violence. In other words, if you say something that they don't like, that is considered to be a violent assault on you, and they are perfectly entitled to respond with violence. Actual, real violence, like killing somebody who says something you don't like from the top of a roof in Utah. As of right now, they're still looking for the killer, the person who shot Charlie Kirk. When they do, if they do, I'm betting that the left will immediately start setting up GoFundMe accounts to pay for his legal defense. And that's where we are today. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Need a break from all the political talk? Tune into Holy Crap It's Sports with Pete Davis every weekday at 5:20 on The Kimmer Show. It's your daily dose of what's hot in the sports world, from the field to the locker room, with Pete's unfiltered opinion and a side of laughs. It's smart, it's funny, it's sports with edge. Holy Crap It's Sports. Catch it at 5:15 only on The Kimmer Show on Xtra 106.3. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
They still haven't found Charlie Kirk's killer. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country.
President Trump called Kirk a martyr for truth and freedom and called his assassination a dark moment for America. Utah Governor Spencer Cox vows to find the gunman.
We will try you, and we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law.
Kirk was a conservative activist famous for going to colleges and debating students. He was shot addressing a crowd at Utah Valley University.
We're told the killer, in all black tactical gear and a black ski mask, fired from a rooftop about 200 yards away.
Fox's CB Cotton.
2 people were taken into custody as part of the investigation. The FBI said those 2 people were questioned and then released.
Republicans and Democrats and the president and former presidents have all condemned Kirk's assassination and all political violence. Almost a year after the second Trump assassination attempt, the suspect, Ryan Ruth, is on trial and defending himself. Opening statements are this morning in a federal court in Florida. In Colorado, a student remains in critical condition after being shot at Evergreen High School along with another student. The gunman was a classmate who shot and killed himself. There is a somber gathering in New York City, 24 years after the 9/11 terror attack.
We're being told a second plane crashed into the building on the opposite end. That's not an accident. That's on purpose.
Both the Twin Towers hit that day, later collapsed. And they'll soon start reading the names of the nearly 3,000 people killed on 9/11 there and in Washington.
We had an aircraft intentionally fly into the Pentagon.
President Trump will speak at the memorial there. There will also be a ceremony in Pennsylvania honoring the passengers who fought back on United Flight 93. The last of the terrorist hijacked planes crashed into a field. America's listening to Fox News.
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
Quiet down. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Support conservative conversation on the radio in Atlanta by emailing us at sales@xtra1063.com.
Tug and Los until 10 on Extra 1063 on a life-changing, country-changing day. The day after Charlie Kirk is assassinated and also the remembrance of 9/11. How could two things so moving, so monumental just happen a day apart? It doesn't even seem like it could. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. How could it possibly have happened the way that it did, and yet it did?
If you're just joining the program, first off, welcome. Thank you. Join on the app. You can always download the Extra 1063 app. Been doing huge numbers on that thing, so we do appreciate it. But I want to point this out to you. Charlie Kirk, the reason why, and I get it, my in-laws were in town. They'd never heard of Charlie Kirk. Didn't make any sense to them. I mean, these are people that are part of the baby boomer generation. Yeah, sure. They're an older generation that it doesn't register with them. And while they are solid voting Republicans, they're not plugged in that way. Who is as young people. And Charlie Kirk managed to move 3 million young people. I mean, think about just in those terms. If we talk about having, in any given election, let's say 140, 150 million Americans that will take part and vote in an election, and he had 3 million who moved in our direction, that is a monstrous impact he had. And so, 9/11, we're going to be at the 25th year anniversary next year, at 24 this year, and you knew how ground-changing that was. That determined the next 20 years of American policy and our foreign interventions and what we were involved in. I'll be very curious to see what happens when a guy who was that iconic to not just the movement, but to young people, having him assassinated in a way that where it's so public and they can see it anytime, it's going to be shocking to them for a long time. It may not make sense to you, for me, because I knew Charlie Kirk was, and I listened to a lot of his stuff. If you're a little bit older, it may not matter. But for that age group, this is their guy.
I think more people know Charlie than we may even realize. One of our sales guys was near tears this morning around 6 o'clock, and he couldn't wrap his head around. And he had just stumbled onto Charlie in the last several months. And he's a conservative guy, Republican voter, that kind of thing. But Charlie had become so big that he had even gotten to him. So he was getting to those people. Surely that wasn't his target audience, but those people know who he is.
Well, it's different. This is not the era of Rush Limbaugh and the 500 radio stations.
Right.
It's great that Clay and Buck have that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the era of Bill O'Reilly or Tucker Carlson. This is a different era in which it's not just about the radio show. It's not just about the TV show. It's the digital footprint, but it's also for Charlie Kirk. He's on campus.
Mm-hmm.
For 9 years, he was on campus in front of you having discussions, talking about the issues with you. He was listening to you. He was having that dialogue. And so while you may not have, because you never saw him as like some prominent figure on Fox News, he was never doing a giant radio program every single day. But he was in the fight, man.
He was in the trenches.
He was in the trenches.
He was actually.
That's why they knew. That's why he was so powerful.
He was actually touching people.
Yes,
like physically shaking hands, touching people, but also touching their minds and persuading them. It's funny because you bring up the 3 million people that he moved. That's such a tiny, tiny number in comparison to what he impacted. And the people that will have that moving forward, that Charlie Kirk was my guy and his beliefs matched mine. Maybe they didn't vote last time. Maybe he moved 3 million. I bet he touched 150 million.
Well, this is the great danger to the globalist, communist, socialist movement. We can talk about the 3 million voters. That's a huge factor, monstrous factor. But he also made people think. And that's first and foremost what the main problem and probably the reason why he was shot and killed. Because the discussions he was having, there was going to be, if you had at any point listened to a Charlie Kirk interaction or went to an event, had that moment, whether you agreed with him or you didn't, he probably made you think a little bit. And that ends up being the great danger. It's like if you start thinking for yourself, that goes against what the whole globalist communist movement is.
You fall in line. You do what we say.
Exactly. Don't think for yourself.
Ever.
Charlie Kirk gave you the greatest, most damaging thing, which was information and the ability to go, maybe I've been lied to about that. Maybe I haven't thought that in the way that I should have.
Charlie Kirk was the Flight 93 of 9/11.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Let's roll.
Let's roll.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to do what's right and what's good.
And we can now go back to an era from the 1960s. And I know, Tug and I talked about this, and it's worth reiterating. We, like everyone else, went through sadness and rage yesterday. And when I was listening to the Kimmer Show, that was predominantly the rage part. And I was like, that was speaking exactly how I felt. Like, let me at him. Let's do this. This is a destabilizing event like we saw in the 1960s when it was assassination season.
Intentionally to destabilize. Please make sure you realize that.
This was meant, whether it was done through a crazy liberal, if this had some other foreign government involvement, no matter what, the goal was always the same. Destabilize this movement and the solidarity that we've largely had in America. When we talk about 80-20 issues, yes, on this radio show, we make fun of that 20, that 19, that 18. Right now, you have such a massive tent going on with Donald Trump where he's constantly on the 80%, 90% issues, that the only thing the globalist has right now is how do I try and break up the American people who are largely seeing things the same way right now? How do I hurt that?
We have to shake that. We can't allow that route to take.
We can't allow America to be that kind of strong.
Absolutely, because it is damaging to us, and we refuse. And so what do? We do what we always do. We lash out in violence. That's what the left did again. And I think Los and I both believe this is deeper than just some random person taking a shot on a college campus. This is not even similar to the shootings that we've seen around the country. This looks to be well orchestrated, well planned.
This is plotted and planned and spotted.
Professional is what I'm going for.
Right.
Professional.
Because if you're telling me that this shooter took up a position from an elevated spot 200 yards away from the stage, they would have to have some sort of knowledge, first off, of where's the stage? How do I get access to that part of the building? What is my escape route going to be? How am I going to, if there's going to be a diversion, how am I going to create the diversion that's going to allow me to get out of here? And all of these apparently seem to be true. We haven't caught this person.
The scene is clean.
The scene is clean. There's no shell casing from what the authorities have talked about.
And this wasn't like in Butler, because we talked about how the scene was cleaned later. Intentionally cleaned later.
Yes.
That was with intent. We're going to remove all the evidence that we can, so we remove any possibility of us being caught. This was no need for somebody to go up there and clean it. It was done in a professional manner.
Yes, the professional who has done this in the past or had training in this, first and foremost, they're going to be able to control their breathing. Typically, they'll have a spotter. If they don't have a spotter, the next thing is, how do you calmly go about exercising what you're going to do? And then how do you leave as little trace as possible? Which in this case, if you picked up the shell casings because you knew what you were doing, you wanted to give authorities as little to work with as possible. What kind of round, what kind of weapon, where was it possibly purchased, all the regular stuff you would do. No shell casing, much harder to track.
Yeah, that's why he's not been found. The FBI's on it. I do believe at some point. You don't,
and it won't be a demon, but we want it to be.
No, you want it to have horns and a tail, as you joke a lot, and it won't. It'll just be a person. A very, very misguided person.
Or a useful idiot.
Or a useful idiot. But I don't...
But again,
I guess Lee Harvey Oswald was a useful idiot, too.
But useful idiot is a misnomer. It doesn't mean they're dumb. It means that when it comes to a cause, they're being used for that cause. And then once they've been exhausted, when their use is gone, they're gone.
That's right.
That's the term the KGB used, the communists use for the useful idiot. We know that we're using them. They think they're going to get to come along for the ride. Once they're done, the idiot part comes forward. You're not going to be part of this. Somebody thought they were doing this for the movement. I have to believe that. I can't imagine that with this level of training, it appears, and this level of preparation, that this was done by just some rando who decided that day, I'm going to go shoot Charlie Kirk.
And the reason I know that to be true, at least in my own opinion, is that Los and I were exchanging texts and information about the Minnesota shooter within 15, 20 minutes of it taking place. We watched videos. We knew about YouTube channels. Yes. We knew so down to the T-shirt the man was wearing.
We were through the manifesto, and we had run at least all the stuff that was in different languages. Tug and I had already run through AI to find out what it was.
And there's nothing.
Because we're like Watson and Holmes. I'm more Watson.
No, I think you're Sherlock.
You're Sherlock Holmes.
I'm definitely.
But it's true. I mean, Watson. But we have nothing. You're right. We have absolutely nothing
there
outside of. For anyone who was trying to fight back against, because it's ugly, anytime there's an assassination and it's politically motivated around the world, we all go like, oh, that's terrible, but that didn't happen here.
That's the thing. And then it did.
To then have a political assassination, and we told you from Butler, Pennsylvania moving forward, this is now what it is. We are going to have Americans that are prominent, that are involved in politics, whether it's Justice Kavanaugh, where it's Amy Coney Barrett, who is concerned about her sister being bombed. This is the response from the globalist movement, the crazy leftists. Violence is what happens. As I pointed it out on Twitter, on X, and I will point it, you can associate it to whoever you want. When these people are out of power, they get more violent. It becomes guerrilla warfare to them. We don't have the power, we don't have the numbers, so how do we still cause chaos? And that's what they're doing, and they're hoping that you'll jump in and cause the chaos with them. I fully expect that we will have another event where it'll be made to look like we're striking back at their side.
Absolutely right.
To destabilize this country.
And that's so important, and we've talked about it earlier in the show. We need to address it again. Do not fall into that trap. Do not. That is the worst possible thing you could do, would be lash out or to act in some way that gives them the ammunition, a horrible choice of words, that gives them the ability to use your action as unstable or to destabilize, to shake America at its foundations, because that's what they want. That is what they want. I read a quote from Wired magazine earlier this morning. I'll read it to you again.
Very important.
This is what they're goading you into doing. It says right-wing extremists, they are ready to fight a war over Charlie Kirk. They're encouraging war. That's what Wired magazine is saying. Do not fall into that trap. That is exactly what they're hoping for.
I want to take people back to 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, you had Americans turning on Americans over COVID.
Calling the police on their neighbors.
Phone numbers to call in. Arrest them on the beach. You had I think the numbers were 58% of Democrats who had polled said that we should put people that don't take the vaccine into camps. 38% had talked about how you should take their kids away. Like, this was a mentality that went on. It was a war. It was destabilizing in the interest of getting rid of Donald Trump. And what has now happened? In the first 7 months of this administration, you've had millions deported. That's the power base of the Democrat Party. You've had USAID essentially be neutered. That was their money. You changed the tax code. You told people they had to go back to work if they wanted money. You took Social Security away from illegals. This is how they were enriching themselves. You then told them, we're going to redo a census. And then they started to freak out. And all the while you did all of these things and you said you were going to do them, as you rolled military personnel into D.C., everyone in America went, yeah, I'm good with that. Like, that looks good. So what has the response been? This is the level of desperation you're getting from the left. Let's start killing. Because everything else hasn't worked. And it didn't work in Butler, Pennsylvania, but it did work here. And now what's your response going to be? And it should be, beat them at the ballot box.
Exactly
Keep
right.
talking.
Make sure that you do not stop talking. That was and I've said this a couple times, but I think it's valuable. I really do. When my 21-year-old college student son says, this happens in other countries, not in America, how can you be afraid to give your opinion in the United States of America? That's what they want. Just like they want you to lash out, they want you to be afraid to speak. They want you to be afraid to tell the truth. And they will do anything to keep you from doing it.
Charlie Kirk. The power of Charlie Kirk was that, as we talked about, it's information. It's a discussion. Because people that don't talk, if you don't talk, it's because you're set in your ways, and here's what it's going to be. We talk about the arena of ideas all the time. I love the arena of ideas. I love talking with people that I don't agree with politically. In fact, one of the most crazy leftists that we had that used to work in this building, she's since moved on. Her and I were chatting about which Georgia games that we're all I'll get my wife and you, and we'll all get together. And now, is there anything politically we can get into where we're going to be offended at one another? No. Because we'll just have a dialogue. Yeah. It's still friendly.
That's rare, dude.
What is going on now? And the reason why Charlie Kirk is dead, you have a portion of society that doesn't want you to have a conversation. What they want you to do is accept the programming.
That's right.
Just accept the programming. If you think for yourself or you have a discussion, in fact, they don't even want discussion, because the discussion means there might be potential enlightenment. You might have that red pill moment where you go, wow, I've really been doing this the wrong way. Might happen.
And we're seeing that too. We've already seen it this morning with a few videos that have been shared where this lifelong Democrat, I mean, it's a kid, it looks to be late teens, early 20s, somewhere in there. And they basically said, I realize that my party is the worst. There are going to be people that are enlightened by this. That's going to be if there is a silver lining, and there's not much of one. But if there is a silver lining, there are going to be people that will wake up, especially young people, that will wake up and see this for what it is. This is an attack on you and your beliefs and your values and your country.
I really hope that people that are very social media oriented, they look around at these celebrations.
Oh, the sick, disgusting.
And they say, that doesn't represent me.
That's right.
And I got to get away from these people.
I can't be around these ghouls.
No.
I cannot be around them. They're not good for me. They're not healthy for me. And they certainly don't have anything for me. When we continue on Extra 106.3, A Democrat tells the truth about troops in D.C., and I want to get into what BLM has said about violence. Next on Extra.
The Morning Extra, Neil Bortz, and The Kimmer Show are all online for you anytime at thepodcastpark.com. Plus all of Extra's exclusive podcasts like Ben Burnett, Janelle King, and so much more. All at thepodcastpark.com. Presented by Associated Credit Union.
Hey, it's Los. Let's talk about Toro and Howard Brothers. It's September. Football is back. That has been awesome. But the mornings, they've been cooler. And so what is going on with your grass? It's not slowing down. It's still growing. That's why you need a Toro mower with powerful engines, precision cutting, and comfort that lasts. Toro makes quick work of late season mowing. You're getting to the end. Finish it off right. Keep your lawn looking game day ready. Get yourself a Toro from Howard Brothers. They have an experienced team that's ready to serve you at any of their 7 locations across North Georgia. Find one near you at howardbrothers.com. Howard Brothers, serving the community since 1955.
More than intelligent, it's thoughtful. Not just spacious, it's sensuous. And along with the sure-footed all-wheel drive, the GLC SUV is now available as an efficient, effusive, and effective plug-in hybrid. Get an exceptional offer on the 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e 4MATIC SUV. Just $429 per month for 24 months with $54.73 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the RBM of Atlanta's Fall Sales event, now through September 30th. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through September 30th, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Calling all contractors. This is Devin Stovall & Company, and we're here for you. We're a third-generation, family-owned and operated company for 75 years and just opened our 11th location in Canton on 9500 Union Hill Road. We're proud to provide your wholesale irrigation, nursery, and landscape supply needs. How do you envision your dream outdoor space for you or your customers? We're here to fulfill them all. We all take pride in special requests and shipping right to your job site. Here at Stovall, we have it all. Check us out at StovallINC.com.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at OurRealSuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Atlanta without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Atlanta for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. Atlanta is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Atlanta and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
Need advice on getting things fixed up around the house? No matter how big or small that project is, we've got your answers. Listen to us on the All Four Seasons Home Show presented by the Trusted Toolbox. Join Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows, and me, Chris Lalamia, your favorite handyman from the Trusted Toolbox, as we tackle all the issues, fixes, and honeydew projects around your home. Join us every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. or grab the podcast anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Securing America.
September 11th remains the day America feels anything but secure, as memories of the terrorist attacks 24 years ago remain fresh in most minds. From New York's World Trade Center to the Pentagon.
There were intense fires following the aircraft's impact into the building.
And Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where United Flight 93 crashed.
The only thing you could see was a big gouge in the earth and some broken trees.
The impact of that day remains in our daily lives. It led directly to the creation of the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA, forever changing airport security and travel processes. 9/11 also led to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the latter of which became America's longest, lasting 20 years. Nearly 7,000 military personnel and almost 8,000 U.S. contractors died during those efforts. Kevin Newton, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, September 11th. Services were held at the West Cobb Funeral Home in Marietta on Wednesday for a fallen DeKalb County firefighter. Preston Fant was attempting to save another firefighter during a warehouse fire in Stone Mountain. Fant was a 21-year veteran of the DeKalb County Fire Department. He's survived by his wife and 5 children. A GoFundMe account has been set up for his family. Cobb County officials confirmed the weapon found on campus at Pebblebrook High School on Tuesday was a BB gun. Pebblebrook briefly went to a code red lockdown after images of the gun in a school bathroom were seen on social media. 3 students were arrested. School officials say they will be held accountable according to state law and district policies. And the Cobb County Board of Commissioners approved a settlement with Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, and 9 other opioid manufacturers for their role in the opioid crisis. Funds from the settlement will be used to enhance addiction treatment and recovery services as well as prevention programs. Cobb County had the highest number of overdose deaths in Georgia in 2017. Today's weather mostly sunny and clear with a high of 85. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. If you want to be encouraged, I'm going to give you some encouragement.
I like encouragement. I'll take it. In fact, I would like to be able to eat at some point.
Yeah, that's right. Me too.
You and I talked about it. We have not eaten in about near 20 hours.
Dude, I did eat a late lunch.
Me too.
Because I was just obviously under the weather and still are a little bit, so please bear with me. Thank you. Had a late lunch, and it was something small, and then after that, it was just like I was so consumed.
I had a sandwich at about, 12:30, 12:45.
Mm-hmm. That's probably right.
And I actually had taken a short nap. I had woken up, and that's when everything had started. And at that point, I was so sick to my stomach. Like, even my wife last night, she's like, you need to eat something. I'm just like, I can't I don't think I could hold much of anything down. I just felt sick the whole day.
Appetite just
gone.
Massive vigil on the University of Alabama campus for Charlie Kirk. Yankee Stadium. That one, Dre and I were talking about that one during the break. That one, I'm not going to lie to you, man. That one surprised me a little bit. That Yankee Stadium would take the time before the game with the Tigers and do a moment of silence.
I thought it was very classy.
Oh, me too. Oh, my gosh. The hat tip to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, we're not supposed to have, and it wouldn't matter if it was a prominent Democrat.
Of course.
We should not have political assassinations.
Of course.
Not in this way. And so I likened it to this, and this is another thing that was making me sick. Just sick to my stomach. So I have a friend of mine who went through a divorce, and during that time period, it was during like the 2021, 2022 period where everything had to be done through Zoom. So it was not hard because, those cases are public record. You could go watch this person's divorce.
Oh, God.
Like, it was awful. And so this is something where their kids had watched the courtroom divorce. And so I started thinking, how awful is it going to be that Charlie Kirk's kids are going to be so young, and then there's going to be a day where they're going to see how dad died. In the same way that, Kennedy's kids saw how that happened.
Yeah.
And that is, there's something that's so sad about that. And it was done so publicly. And it was done publicly intentionally. Like, if you're out to kill Charlie Kirk, if you want to make your political statement, you do it in front of 1,000 people. And that's what happened. That's another thing that turned my stomach.
Totally. And then, with technology being lickety-split, that 1,000 people becomes...
It was everywhere. Millions.
Everyone. I didn't even mean to see the video. I didn't want to see. I never want to see the video. Right? I still haven't seen the full video of the woman stabbed. I've watched it to the point, and then I didn't want to see it, and I saw it. My son called me, and he was like, Dad, I just saw the worst thing that I've ever seen in my whole life. I actually saw it. He was much like me. He wasn't even trying. It was just there.
It was, I think, within about 14 minutes of it happening.
Yeah.
Because then my phone is blowing up. And here, I'll give you an example. And this is from a good friend. I won't say his name. I've just known him for a long time. He says, I think these suck Fs just killed Charlie Kirk. And that's when, at that point, I'm watching this stuff going, that looks generally awful. And, you talk about the 9/11 for that age group, for that group of young people, the one who's there to represent you, to talk with you, to give you a voice. And because it threatens the power of those that have held power for a long time in this country, you got to go.
Dude, there's so many vigils that are popping up across the country. In Idaho, Central Florida, Long Island, hundreds downtown. This was last night, Boise. There's so many people that are rallying to the cause of good that you should be encouraged. And it's tough to be encouraged. I mean, let's not talk about what we can't eat, because it was so
sickening.
So sickening.
Saddening.
But be encouraged that your fellow Americans see it the same way you do. They're not going to allow this assassination, this awful, awful incident to derail them from their love of country, from their platform to speak their minds and to tell the truth. That's not going to be dissuaded at all. And Jere brought something up during the break earlier. Do we expect we'll see a bunch because of college football coming up this weekend? Will there be sheets hanging out, windows that say...
They started at LSU already.
So the answer is yes.
Because he was scheduled for there in October. Or I think actually end of September, early October.
Will much like the New York Yankees did, will these college football programs, knowing how influential Charlie Kirk was to the majority of those kids gathered in that stadium to see a football game, will they take a moment and reflect?
And I don't believe this is an overestimation at all. This is fabric of society stuff. This was a man who had built his political empire based on, let's talk.
Yeah.
Free speech.
That's exactly right.
Instead of...
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. In fact, for a lot of people out there, and this goes on both sides of the aisle, when they speak at a college campus, they get in front of a microphone, you sit in an auditorium, and they tell you what they think. And maybe there might be a Q&A session at the end.
And it's usually, hey, we got 15 minutes.
Here we go.
Whoever would get in, would get
Q&A.
in. Yeah, maybe.
Charlie Kirk would sit there for 2 or 3 hours, just be like, come walk up to the microphone.
And especially if you disagree, come up first.
And it wasn't a show. I mean, it turned into like, okay, it's what it's going to be. But the show was the discussion. There was no prepping for that. There was no, well, let's see if we can line. It's just if you wanted to talk, if you wanted to have a discussion, Charlie would give you some remarks, maybe to open things up, and now it's wide open. Let's go.
And he used his logic and his instinct and his wisdom to debate people in the most acceptable way that you can debate. There was no yelling. There was no screaming. It was always point for point. And I think that's probably what has spawned off. What's the other thing? The round table thing.
Surrounded.
Surrounded. There you
Surrounded.
go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is exact. That
concept.
Spawns from
Same
Charlie
concept.
Kirk.
Yeah, it's just more of a show. Now I do enjoy following Josie, redheaded libertarian.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She pointed out an interview that she did with Charlie Kirk from 2 years ago, and Charlie Kirk had a question for her, and it was a discussion. It was, how does somebody who's recognized as being libertarian, how does she reconcile not saying live and let live when it comes to the trans community, the trans movement? And she had pointed out what her history was when she was living in Massachusetts, of how her daughter had a particular situation and how the first thing from the state was, well, she's trans. She's got to turn into a boy. And how she pointed out, this actually lines up with cultural Marxism. That is why the libertarian movement just doesn't say, oh, you feel like doing that? Okay, that's fine. But Charlie Kirk wanted her on because he wanted to ask about it.
Yeah.
He wanted to learn.
Yeah.
He wanted to have like, okay, so what is your opinion of this? Because this is how I feel about it.
Because I respect you enough to ask.
And how does the libertarian, it's a discussion. If you're going to kill someone because you don't like that he likes to take part in discussions, then you can't possibly understand the civil society of America, where we all have to treat each other with a certain respect and a certain adherence to the law, while also sharing our ideas with one another that can be completely foreign and different.
It's crazy. Los and I, there's never been an encounter that I've ever seen Los have or me have with somebody that has a differing opinion, and there be anything but either, hey, agree to disagree and move on, or get into an actual discussion and hopefully.
The guy in the office with the Joe Biden tattoo, him and I were hugging it out last week, goofing around about getting ready for football season and what we've got to get organized. And we couldn't be more different politically.
And that's the way it has to be in a civilized society. Otherwise, it is nothing but jungle rule.
The civil society demands it.
It demands it, yes.
And as
it can't function without it.
And one of the points that Charlie Kirk has made over and over again, and I will reiterate it for him, the founders of this country based so much of the founding on we have to have a just and religious society in order for freedom to really work the way it needs to work. That if you don't have a foundational aspect of recognizing where your place is in this world and that you are unique and life is special and that your freedom and your self-determination are all worth fighting for, those are important. If you don't have that foundation, you'll never be able to function and understand what the real gift of America is.
And that's what Charlie explained every time. He was a devout Christian. He loved his wife. He loved his children. He loved traditional values. He shared traditional values. And that unfortunately strikes at the root of everything that the leftist communist believes is evil, right?
Well, they need chaos.
They need that chaos. They can't have a intact family because who's going to depend on them?
See, I could never be able to rewire Tug's brain because Tug has a foundation of what he believes in and what he values, and he's experiences that in his life, and he's experienced what the benefits are to that portion of his life, whether it be his family, whether it be his religion, whether it be the way that he treats other people out in society. I could never convince him that, well, you're a victim and I'll fix it for you. But if you live in chaos,
yes,
if you live in a position where your life is all over the place, then suddenly that song that I'm singing it lures you in. You're like, man, Los makes a lot of sense. He's going to take care of some stuff for me. I know he's just asking me to buy into a little bit of communism, but hey, maybe it's just a little bit.
Think about the chaos those people in D.C. live in and why those leftists have been so adamant about Donald Trump bringing in the National Guard to clean it up. They can't lose those people.
No, they need
them. Mm-hmm. They need them. They need the chaos. They need the destruction. And quietly, here's the thing that they won't say out loud. They will quietly in their group of people. We played Dan Turlington earlier, the Democrat, saying the most progressive leftist people I know are celebrating the fact that they can go get dinner in Washington, D.C.
They're like, life is pretty good now.
But they will never say it out loud. They will never say it on CNN or MSNBC or on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or any other. They will never say it aloud because it goes directly against what they believe in to their core.
It's going to give Donald Trump a victory. And as we've talked about this, like ad nauseum, why do you not glom on to victories when they're clearly there? Muriel Bowser is one of the first people. John Fetterman, to a certain extent, will be like, no, this is a good idea. There are moments where Donald Trump is handing you a victory that you can also take part in.
And wants you to.
And he's like, come on in.
That's the craziest thing about it, Los, is that dude is just like, come on, man.
It's like,
come on, the water's great.
Why don't we both take some credit for this? No.
He's a businessman. That's what businessmen do. They create relationships. They create bonds. They create bridges. And they bring people together for, in a business instance, for this, whatever this deal is. But he's doing the same thing. He's the same principles as president to do it across the country. Can you imagine if Gavin Newsom would have been like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's clean all this up. And then all of a sudden, he would have looked so presidential.
Yes.
Now he looks foolish because there's plenty of video of him out there talking about fighting a war against Donald Trump and all that he's doing with, ICE and all that he's doing with National Guards.
What you now have, Charlie Kirk has become a political and a Christian martyr. And now, if you say, okay, Los, I think you're overplaying this. It's Charlie Kirk.
You're not.
Here's how I know this is right. Because people that have made a living putting videos together of Charlie Kirk that are of substance, we're not talking about just your crazy Aunt Peg or Jeff who you roomed with down the hall in college. These are the people like the Harry Sissons of the world that are going back and deleting every one of them because of how bad it makes them look.
Absolutely right.
Because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that I called for violence or I called for, you need to deal with this guy. They are going back and trying to delete every single one of them. So there's been a race of people right now that are making it a point. Let's record every single time these people did this stuff and let's hold on to it. So the next time they try and say what they're going to say, put it in their face.
That's right.
Show that no, you called for this. You created the atmosphere for this.
Just like the Van Hollen audio that we played earlier, Senator Chris Van Hollen, who tweeted out, there's no room for this. And good, I'm glad that he did. But it sure goes in direct opposition of what he said the day before when he said this is war.
When he called for action.
You have to act. We're not asking you to act on anything. We're actually asking you to sit back and take the emotion out of it. As hard as it is, it's almost impossible to take the emotion out of it. Because someone who is beloved, someone who cherished the same things that you cherished and valued the same things that you valued was taken. Do not act on that rage. Do not act on that anger. Find a way to channel it for good.
I can tell you this. Like, you're a much stronger Christian than I am in terms of practicing. You're at church all the time. You know, that's not the way that things operate in my home. Now, it is with my 14-year-old. She's very religious at this point. I enjoy it. I enjoy the discussions that we have there.
It's great.
What I will tell you is the only solace I have had from not being able to eat, to being upset, to having trouble even sleeping last night, to then as I'm waking up, jumping back on my phone to see, have we got a shooter yet? Like, this is what I'm doing. My only solace is being able to take the rage and emotion out of it and put it aside and go, okay, now what should we do from here?
Right.
And what was Charlie trying to do?
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, because
let's lift up his message.
There's no honor in going out and beating crap out of these people.
No.
It's a matter of, did I outthink you? Did I outbeat you? Did I outtalk you? And then I beat you at the ballot box.
That's right.
That's what my job needs to be.
We're going to be smarter. We're going to be stronger. We're going to do everything the right way, because that's the way Charlie, that's the way he did it every day. He did it the right way. And if you go about it the way that they want you to, the way that they're trying to lure you in to being violent or to acting aggressively, you're no better than them. You're doing the exact same thing. You cannot do that.
And now I need an apprehension of a shooter.
No, absolutely.
That's what I need today.
Justice must be served.
Like, let me get there.
No question. Please don't mistake me there.
No.
Justice must be served.
I need some answers here.
And when they talk about justice, remember what the governor of Utah said. The death penalty is still an option in Utah, and it should be. It should absolutely be on the table. And I know that it is. But while we're working up, while we're talking, and it's easy to get emotional about things, be level-headed and do what is right. Do what is right. That's what we encourage you to do. Do what is right. Beat them, outsmart them, beat them at the ballot box, beat them at their own game. This is the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. The backlash is coming, but it won't be violence from our side. But they're still not going to like it. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, September 11th. From the NFL, Week 2 in the league begins tonight with Thursday Night Football. It'll be the 1-0 Green Bay Packers hosting the 1-0 Washington Commanders. The Packers are a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup. That kickoff tonight is set for $8.15. It's now an off day for the Atlanta Braves as the Chicago Cubs took 2 of 3 from them at Truist Park, including a 3-2 finish last night. The Braves, again, will enjoy that off day before continuing the homestand tomorrow night as the Houston Astros will be in town for a weekend series. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Lord, as the weather changes and things go from a little warmer to a little cooler, make sure that your house is ready for whatever temperature is needed, especially during this time. You know, when you're not sure. Some days it's 85, 86, 87 outside. Some days it's 58. You know, things are going back and forth dramatically. And a maintenance agreement at Central Heating and Air Conditioning will make sure that your heating and air is up to the task, whatever that task is, and runs efficiently as long as it possibly can. Lasts as long as it possibly can, because let's face it, HVAC systems are pretty expensive, so you want them to last. How do you make them last? You're going to maintain twice a year. Call Central Heating and Air Conditioning today, and you'll actually speak with a person who can walk you through this. You won't be sent through automation. It's one of my favorite things about calling Central when I do is I know I'm going to talk to somebody. As soon as I dial the number, it is going to be a person on the other end of the line. So reach out to them, 770-GET-HEAT, or go to centralheat.com. Get your maintenance agreement scheduled today. You will not regret it, and neither will the folks that live in your house when they're comfortable all year round with Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning.
Fall is here, football is back, and so is the perfect time to celebrate with something unforgettable. From September 15th through the 21st, enjoy up to 60% off all bridal and fine jewelry in store during our big Percentage Week sale. As proud partners of the Georgia Bulldogs and Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, we know what it means to shine on game day and every day. But hurry, once an item is gone, it's gone. Visit any of our 3 locations, Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Sharpsburg, or book your private appointment now at SolomonBrothers.com for the best selection and service. Family owned, trusted for generations, and home to Georgia's largest selection of fine jewelry. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, luxury, value, legacy. We will run out of the hottest items. Do book your appointment early and don't miss the Percentage Week, September 15th through 21st only. Solomon Brothers, where Georgia celebrates luxury, value, and legacy.
Hey, this is John Flading. I'm the president and owner of ATL Turf Co. We have become a highly sought-after turf installation company in the Atlanta and North Georgia luxury residential market. The big reason for that is our installers are ATL Turf Co. employees. We do not outsource labor. They are trained to be experts in the turf installation process, drainage, grading. Just go to atlturfco.com to schedule an appointment.
Hey, it's Los here to tell you about a new, stress-free, and completely transparent way to purchase your next pre-owned car, truck, or SUV. It's with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, traditionally, I've been a payment buyer. How do you work with that type of buyer?
I have people that come in all the time and they want to spend $20,000. Okay, if their payments are $400 on $20,000, they don't realize without the doc fees, without all this other stuff, we can put them in a 22 or 23 model car and we can spend a little bit more money and have the same payment. So if you're a payment buyer, don't come in here just saying, I want to spend $20,000, because we can sit there and help you and we can put you in a newer car with lesser miles at a payment you need.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the honest car guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Atlanta without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Atlanta for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. Atlanta is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Atlanta and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
Is there any other leader in the world history that you have ever heard of who's anything like what Donald Trump has been doing and be able to accomplish?
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Getting through a tough 9/11 day on the Morning Extra, but we're picking each other up, carrying each other, and discussing the value of someone like Charlie Kirk. I want you to know that there was an FBI update that's coming up at 9 o'clock. We will, if there's an opportunity, we'll take you to that live so you can hear the latest from the FBI as they make their statements at the top of the hour.
So at this point, we don't have a ton of what the ongoing investigation is, and so everything has been small leaks that have come out as far as bullet caliber, what they're looking into.
Cleanliness of the
position.
site.
Yeah, cleanliness of making sure that there was no casing found. And so I guess we'll get a little bit more of a rundown. Obviously, with if they have any leads, we won't hear a ton on that because there's still somebody at large. And I'm sure that they'll review the 2 people that they did apprehend and then turn loose, because at least one of them, who was shouting that he shot Charlie Kirk and was arrested pretty quickly, that was the focus of the entire investigation for the first about 20 minutes before everyone recognized, whether intentionally or unintentionally, this guy helped create a diversion to let the real shooter get out of there.
Yeah, it's it was a sad scene. All of it's sad, but there's so many rays of light, and I know in the moment you don't want to hear that, but there's so many positive things.
This happened because you're winning.
That's right. Which we've discussed at length, and you're going to continue to win because Charlie Kirk, as long as you don't let his voice be silenced, as long as you don't let your voice be silenced, his memory lives on, his values live on, and it helps every single one of us, and it helps this great nation that we live in.
I think this is very important and worth pointing out from Clay Travis. You can hear with him and Buck Sexton noon to 3 right here on the station. Clay tweeted out a few minutes ago, "My 2 oldest sons wore coats and ties to school today, something they normally hate to do today in honor of Charlie Kirk. The entire school is doing it. I'm not sure most people realize even yet how much he connected with young boys and young men and how crushed these kids are." He follows it up with, "If you have young kids, boys especially, they may be hurting on this more than you realize. Encourage you to talk with them about free speech and the importance of not giving in to terror." This is their 9/11.
That's exactly right, man, because that's exactly what the 9/11 terrorists tried to do. They tried to silence you. They wanted you to be frightened. They used every tool that they think they could get their hands on to scare you to no end. So you were afraid to talk, you were afraid to fly, you were afraid to gather, you were afraid to do anything. This is exactly the same thing. They want you to be afraid. They want you to be afraid. You do not silence your voice for any reason. And I love the fact that those kids are doing that. I love it, dude. But you know why I think? Because it goes so in the face of everything that the communist believes, down to the clothing. Because that's such a traditional American thing to do.
Start looking like old school Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, or Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, that was always the joke from the 80s. Always a coat and tie.
Dude, what does Donald Trump always wear?
Always with his, outside of golf gear, it's always, I've only seen him in the 2.
That's right.
In fact, the fact that I know what Joe Biden looks like in swimwear, like I'm certainly glad that Donald Trump doesn't wear swimwear ever.
But I think, I don't think many people are going to pick up on why the coat and tie matters.
Sure.
They're going to gloss over that. They're going to summarize it as, it's just a show of unity, whatever, which is fine. That's fine because that's what it is for sure. But those details matter.
I think it's important. 3 million voters that he moved on his own with the work that Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, that what they were doing, but the influence he had for young people to talk, have discussions, talk. You have difference of opinions, talk. If you want to come and grab the mic and talk to me, let's do it.
If you disagree with me, come to the front of the line. Prove me wrong.
Because The communists, the globalists, the socialist movement depends on just accept the programming and keep it moving.
And do not have an opinion. Do not have a difference of opinion.
And for the people that have lacked empathy in all of this,
there's plenty.
There's plenty of them. Those are the ones that I look at and say, you are so lost, in part because if there was ever anybody on the other side that had the same situation, I'd be like, there's no room for it. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's awful to look at. The fact that they are unable to do that because they have accepted what the programming is, which is every single person that partakes in any of this discussion about whether it's MAGA or freedom or voting Republicans or more than anything, conservative values is what it really comes down to.
Right.
Conservative values.
That's right.
All those people are worthy of death. That's the way they look. They've turned us all into some sort of demons and monsters in their minds.
Horns and a tail. But they've been told that by the predominantly mainstream media outlets and the former president of the United States.
And they've never asked the question, hey, is that really who that person is?
Is he really a Nazi? Is he really a person with horns and tails? Or is it just somebody with a difference of opinion? Joe Biden 3 years ago said half the country was an extremist and a danger to democracy. And you see how that rhetoric continually manifests itself.
We'll see if we get the FBI coming up.
We'll have it. If it's available, we will have it for you here on Xtra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
The Queen and I are actually on the road right now in the Bortz bus, so this morning before we pull out, I wanted to grab the iPad, oddly enough, and record a new commentary for today. Of course, it's about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Number one, please notice that in the media, if it's a left-wing media outlet, they'll refer to it as a murder. Right-wing, they'll refer to it as an assassination. Just an odd difference. But violence by leftists against conservatives is on the way up. We've had 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life. Elon Musk threatened with assassination. 2 staffers at the Israeli embassy in Washington killed. The United CEO killed by a violent leftist anti-capitalist. In fact, a poll shows that 48% of liberals think it would be okay to murder Elon Musk. 55% of liberals say it would be okay to assassinate President Trump. I brought this up a long time ago when I said that liberals are starting to say that speech is violence. In other words, if you say something that they don't like, that is considered to be a violent assault on you, and they are perfectly entitled to respond with violence. Actual, real violence, like killing somebody who says something you don't like from the top of a roof in Utah. As of right now, they're still looking for the killer, the person who shot Charlie Kirk. When they do, if they do, I'm betting that the left will immediately start setting up GoFundMe accounts to pay for his legal defense. And that's where we are today. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
This is House Call for Health. A new study shows people may have aisle anxiety and decision fatigue during their trip to the grocery store. The nationwide survey of 2,000 adults by Talker Research finds most people spend about 4 minutes deciding on each item they buy at the supermarket. Many say shopping feels like an investment, especially for products tied to health, wellness, or those with a long shelf life. And the numbers tell the story. 41% admit second-guessing half the choices made in a given day. More than a quarter say even the the simplest decisions can leave them stressed. And at the supermarket, 40% of consumers say they research food products more today than they did 5 years ago, more focusing on labels that promise healthier for you, or non-toxic, or clean, or no added sugar. Researchers say more than a third of us have become what they call product detectives. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
And this is the only description of the shooter from Utah law enforcement via Broadcastify.
Wearing all black, black long gun, black tactical helmet, a black mask, possibly wearing a tactical vest and jeans.
Kirk, a conservative activist who debated students on college campuses, was shot while addressing a crowd at Utah Valley University.
We're told the shots were fired from a building about 200 yards away.
Fox's CB Cotton is on campus.
The FBI is making a plea on social media to the broader community. Anyone with photos or videos, send it to the agency.
President Trump called Kirk's assassination a dark moment for America.
He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth.
President Trump condemned rhetoric demonizing people with whom you disagree, especially from the left, as former presidents Clinton, Obama, and Biden and other Democrats joined Republicans speaking out against political violence. Now, opening statements will soon start this morning in a federal court in Florida to put Ryan Ruth on trial, charged in the second Trump assassination attempt last year. We just got an inflation update. The consumer price index rose more than expected last month, 0.4%, and the annual rate of inflation also went up 0.2 to 2.9%. There was also an increase in first-time unemployment claims last week, the most in almost 4 years. Now to New York City. That's at Ground Zero, marking the start of the 9/11 terror attack remembrance 24 years later. That bell went off at the first hijacked plane time when it hit the first of the Twin Towers. Both later collapsed. They've just started reading all the names of the nearly 3,000 people killed in the attacks there and at the Pentagon and at a field in Pennsylvania where a plane crashed. America's...
You ever wonder why Verizon charges twice as much as Pure Talk for the same basic service? Think it might have something to do with the fact that Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion. That's billion with a B. Yeah, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. That's why they can offer unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Save an additional 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say the words micro. That's pound 250, micro.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. We are going to be, if we can get the audio for you as soon as the FBI briefing starts, the update on the Charlie Kirk assassination, we will take you to that live. We will be monitoring the network channel to make sure that as soon as it starts, we get you over there.
I really hope we have some FBI wizardry, because as of now, and you heard it during the Fox News update, their description is man in black, possible tactical vest, tactical helmet, jeans, and that's it.
Yeah. Which has led us to believe, and you probably too, that this is not just some one-off, some person that had a vendetta against Charlie Kirk, but more organized. And that means probably a deeper connection to more people, more organizations, more groups that despise America and people like Charlie Kirk.
Well, the start of this, when we heard he'd been shot, the first thought process that goes in your mind is, well, he's at one of his events. Perhaps somebody went ahead and ran up on security and fired a shot off. And like that's the imaginable point,
right, yeah,
for somebody who's random, who does not intend to get away with this at all.
Yeah.
By the time you see the video and then you see what looks like the potential shooter running across the rooftop, there's an extended amount of planning that goes into that as far as position, where's the stage,
leaving no evidence.
What am I doing? Leaving no evidence. And so it leads you to believe that the police have talked about it as much so far, the authorities, this has more of an element of professionalism than just a random crackpot.
Which is, neither is good, obviously.
It all ends the same. It's more motive and extension of the motive. Where did this start?
Right, and how many tentacles, how many people were involved? Like, what organization put this into motion? It could be as, please don't think we're crazy. This could be international. This could be the Chinese. This could be the Russians. This could be the Ukrainians. This could be so many different people trying to cause instability in the United States.
There's organizations, including those that are domestic, that are interested in America being destabilized. We talk about it regularly. A destabilized America that's fighting amongst itself, is a less strong America. And there are countries that have an interest in that, just as there are domestics here who would love to see. I've got to go back into it, and maybe it probably won't be tonight. I have priorities. I need to get away from this stuff. I need to be able to eat a little bit.
That's right.
I haven't eaten. You haven't eaten. It's been very, I just don't have an appetite. So there's a movie called Civil War that was out as of a couple of years ago.
Is that the one the Obamas did?
And it's the fascination of what happens when the states rise up and get rid of the authoritarian dictator president.
Mm-hmm.
This is the goal. This is their excitement level. We can't beat them at the ballot box. We can't beat Trump on policy.
He's proven that.
Let's see if we can destabilize the country.
And that's the ultimate goal anyway, right? That's the thing. They want to destabilize the United States because they see the United States as the great Satan, the ultimate evil. So if we can't have our way through the ballot box, we'll take our way through any means necessary. And I gotta tell you, I'm wondering, with all these former presidents now coming out condemning this violence, will they change the way that they speak about it? And I expect the answer will be no, but they should. If you want me to believe you whatsoever, if you want to have any credibility with me whatsoever, you can't just make one blanket statement and wipe your hands of it, I'm done, because that's not enough. That's not good enough.
No, when you use the term, and they've been told not to by some of these groups that do the polling data. We reviewed this with you probably about 3 weeks ago. Talked about the words and phrases that the Democrats have been told no longer to use because it's not resonating with the regular voters. They have turned you off. One of them was existential threat to democracy. That is something they still continue to go to because it's built into their lexicon.
Yeah, that's
it's
who
built
they
into
are.
what they do. So when Barack Obama tells you that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy, is that not, what was it, the 90s term, the dog whistle of like, get on your horse, start creating some violence.
That's right.
You got to take these people out because you can't beat them at the ballot box.
And Joe Biden 3 years ago said, these MAGA Republicans are extremists and they are a threat to our very republic. They're a threat to our democracy.
You almost sounded exactly like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It was very close. Those impersonation broadcast classes are paying off.
Yeah, right. And that's what he said. He called 50% of the country. And he did it. He wanted you to believe that. He wanted you to feel it. They built the scene to make sure you felt it. Even if you didn't buy a word he said, which I didn't either.
Supposed to be ominous.
They wanted you to know that they are not afraid to come after you. They're not afraid to come after Charlie Kirk. They're not afraid to come after Donald Trump. There is no one that's untouchable. There's no one that's off limits, and there's nothing that they won't do to maintain that power and authority and keep you silent.
We have threatened their piggy bank with USAID gone. We talked about it, how right now the Republicans, and this is not a time of year where you raise a lot of money. Republicans raise money during elections for presidents, not during off years. Right now the Republicans have raised 5 times what the Democrats have. You took away their piggy bank.
Because they were never raising that money to begin with.
No, it was your money.
It was your money being recycled back to them.
Through. Yeah, through NGOs and refiltered through. You've taken away their numbers in terms of your getting rid of so many of the people that they depended on for votes and for representation in the census. You are showing Americans that you can actually clean up an American city, an American community within 10 days. They are losing on so many fronts, is the left, that now all they know is violence. Because they're not beaching at the ballot box. They can't beach, 80-20 issues, 90-10 issues? They can't win. Well, I already told you they lost the culture war.
Oh, gosh. Dude.
So what do they have left? Violence.
And they're acting on it. You're seeing it in real time. Another thing that comes up, Los, that I think irritates people is anybody that has a question about vaccines, you're anti-vax. No, I have questions, and they should be answered. Did you have those same questions or those same arguments against those people that you let into the country without vaccines that had never been vaccinated for anything?
Never. Not an issue.
Did you inoculate them when they came across the border?
Of course not. Come on in.
There's a reason the measles are popping up again in the United States because it was never about the issue that you brought up. It was never about the vaccines. It was about you shut up. This is how I get you to shut up. And then letting people unvaccinated come across the border every day. It's nuts. They think you're ignorant. They think you're so ignorant that you're not going to notice.
If I may, if you would really like to upset the left over the course of today, whenever they go down the road of, well, Charlie Kirk, he's dead because of his incendiary language and the incendiary language of the right. And I will say this. You tell that person, actually, the reason Charlie Kirk is dead is because we keep beating you at the ballot box. And you know what probably caused it the most? When we're breaking up your child pedophile sex rings. Let them argue that. Let them sit back and be like, what do you mean? Well, we took away your money. We're going to take away your census. We're going to take away your power. We're going to strip you of all the crazy stuff you've done. We've got federal grand juries that are going to start hammering away at the deep state. And we took away your passion. Child sex. Watch them argue that. Now somebody's going to go, that's incendiary like what Charlie Kirk was talking about. Am I wrong? Prove me wrong.
And the other thing, Charlie, that I know of never even spoke of that.
Doesn't matter.
No,
I'm just saying we're just taking away all that matters to them. No. So all they have left is violence.
You're going to continue to win because this is I heard this, it's not my term. I heard it used a couple times yesterday, a watershed moment. And I do believe it is a watershed moment. The people that loved Charlie Kirk and what he stood for, American values, traditional values, they're not going to be intimidated into shutting up. We're not going to be intimidated into shutting up. If anything, this encourages me more because this lets me know that we're marching down the right path. We're doing things the right way.
This also does this to young people, especially young men, that you are such a threat to their globalist dreams that they are willing to take the person that you consider iconic. I cannot make this make sense enough. This is young people's Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, it is, for sure.
Who was shot and killed in front of them in such a graphic way. Like, they don't understand if the globalists thought we're going to take this player off the board. In fact, I'll tell you, the next one to watch will be CBS. So Nate Burleson, who's one of the hosts of their morning show, well, he just blamed Charlie Kirk and the Republicans in their speech for him being dead. Let's see how long Nate gets to me football play and me get to hold a job.
Yeah.
I don't think he understands the backlash.
No, he has no idea. He's like, was it Matthew Dowd that
Matthew Dowd thought he was going to be able to blame Charlie Kirk for his own death.
Because he said Charlie's going out there and speaking and spewing this hateful rhetoric, this hateful discussion. And if you go and listen to Charlie, it's everything but that. It is incredibly respectful. He led the way on civil discourse. He is the reason civil discourse is probably understood by so many young people. Nate's about to find out.
I'm about to find out.
Yeah. And there's it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the left says, dude. Their actions is going to speak louder to young voters and young Americans today more than anything else. That's what will stand out, is their action. What do they do? Watch what they do, not what they say. And then you'll have every answer you need to know about every person in that you're listening to.
It was January of 2017, if I remember correctly. And Kathy Griffin basically ends her career by severing the head of Donald Trump. And we thought to ourselves, wow, that's pretty extreme. Seems kind of nutty. And then she's ostracized, and now I don't get to do my show, and I can't do comedy clubs, and here's what the problem is. And I was like, well, tough.
Sorry for you, girl.
You can fast forward to 2024, 7 years later, and they're legitimately trying to take Donald Trump's head off in Butler, Pennsylvania. All right, somebody considered that important. I think we have the update that's coming down right now on Fox News. You want to go to this?
Yeah, let's go to this.
FBI update.
There you go.
Which then lead to hateful action.
University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they faced scrutiny, they faced threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock. All day yesterday, through the night last night, investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We're working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media, and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we're confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately.
This is the FBI update of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Last night I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen the state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual. Having walked through the crime scene, through the hallways of this school, through the classrooms, I can't imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear. Can't overstate the tragedy and the horrific event that yesterday was, and how we will work to bring to justice the actions of one individual or any other individuals that assisted in that. Our state has gone through a lot, and we will come out successful. With that, I'll turn the time over to Special Agent Bowles.
You're listening to the FBI update on the assassination of Charlie Kirk right here on Extra 106.3.
My name is Robert Bowles, and I am the Special Agent in charge of the Salt Lake Field Office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people. It's to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Any attack on the First Amendment is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy. That is why we will relentlessly pursue this case and the shooter until we find him. We also continue to grieve with the family and the community. It's our community. If you have any video or images from the shooting, we ask you to please submit them to our digital media tip website at www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley Shooting. You can also call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We truly rely on the public's help in these types of cases, and no tip is too small or insignificant. Thank you.
Commissioner James Matthews from Sky News. Can I ask...
Now we're into a Q&A session. You're listening to the FBI update of the Charlie Kirk assassination right here on Extra 106.3.
You say you're confident at this stage in terms of tracking down who they are. Can you talk to us about their movements, their demeanour? Do you think it's a man? And also, can I ask, what were the security arrangements in place? Was that roof being monitored? It's a question many people will have, particularly after Butler.
So we'll release that.
Suspect blended in well with a college institution. And we're not releasing many details right now, and we will soon. But right now we're not. But that individual appears to be of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual. If we're unsuccessful in identifying them immediately, we will reach out for the public's help and the media's help in pushing those photos. That was a new development overnight, working through the night, studying those cameras. So that's something that's new and that we're working through right now. As far as the security, I cannot speak to that. Neither the Department of Public Safety nor the Federal Bureau of Investigation was involved in the planning or security of this event, and that'll have to be a question later for other agencies.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you found the gun in a wooded area. Do you believe that the suspect could be hiding in the woods, and is that suspect possibly still in this area?
So that's a good question, and it's a question that goes to the safety of the community, right? No, not in those woods. We walked through those woods and secured it. As to the community, I can tell you that this was a targeted event. We don't believe that the community is at risk. However, we are exhausting every resource to find him, and we will do so.
Special Agent Bowles, Dennis Coverage with the BBC. From the images you have, can you see clearly the suspect's face? You say he's college age. Do you believe he was from this university? And how far do you think he may have gone in this time?
So I can't comment specifically on his face or any details such as that, as it's continuing to be a part of the investigation, and again, we'll release that shortly. However, we're doing everything we can to find him, and we're not sure how far he has gone yet, but we will do our best.
But you have a clear image of his face?
We have images of the suspect.
Did you trace the gun's owner?
That you've been able to recover, do you believe you know this person is the person that you're looking for?
Again, as part of the investigation, we're not releasing any details such as that right now. We are exhausting all of our resources to be able to collect those, but that's, again, part of the investigation.
Have you been able to trace back the owner of the gun?
Excuse me?
You said you found the weapon. Have you been able to trace back the owner of that weapon or who purchased it?
We are working on that, but again, part of the investigation that I can't release.
Agent Holmes, has been a lot of turnover in the FBI. Do you think that's impacting the investigation?
Not at all.
This is the Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, listening to the FBI discussion and Q&A now about the evidence that they found on the scene there at the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah, and there's so many things.
Yeah,
you and I are making notes.
Let's get a break and go through some of this stuff so we can reiterate. If you're just now joining us, they've got a lot of data to work through, but they do have a lot of data, and that's a good thing.
When conflicts escalate around the world, don't let the mainstream media scare you into believing their narrative. Get it right with Atlanta's only conservative voice. And trust the Morning Extra, Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer Show, and our entire lineup to give it to you straight. Don't buy the fear. Just keep it here. Extra 106.3 FM and the all-new Extra app.
Hey, it's Los. Let me tell you about the Honest Car Guy. You're going to get to know him as Tom. And some of you have been very surprised when you do call 844-SHOW-ME-1 or you go to honestcarguy.com. As you've emailed me, hey, did you know I got the chance to talk with Tom? Well, I know. He's the Honest Car Guy. That's what Tom does. Tom has run dealerships in this state for a multitude of decades. He knows what he's doing when it comes to getting you that next vehicle. This is now Tom's own business. This is what he's doing. What is he doing? He helps you secure your next vehicle. As he's joked around about it with me, 1960 to 2025, anything you want, if it's anywhere in this country, he's going to be able to find it and get it to you. Now, here's the other part. If you want to talk about financing, Tom can help arrange that. He's got some of the best banks in the area that he's working with. If you have a trade-in, he can handle that for you. But here's the most important part. You're going to dodge all of the fees that go into buying a vehicle with a regular dealership. You're not going to have to be there for 5 or 6 hours. You're not going to spend a whole Saturday and Sunday. Don't have to wait to hear back from a manager or anything else like that. Tom's going to tell you, here's the fee. Here's what we got. Here's what the car is going to cost us. And once you go ahead and say, all right, let's pull the trigger on that, all you owe Tom is the honesty fee. The fee. That's it. That's all. That's what it is. Like, here's my vehicle. Here's my fee to Tom, and that's it. That's what it's going to be for you. Go to honestcarguy.com. That's honestcarguy.com. Or give Tom a call. 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME1.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Now, I know there are plenty of HVAC companies out there, but let me tell you why Central Heating and Air Conditioning stands out from the rest. These days, it's hard to tell who's on first. Everybody wants to play. Many of the local HVAC companies, though, have been sold to large conglomerates. And some are even coming back under new names. But at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they never left the field. They've been your hometown team since 1947. And their dedication to our community has never wavered. They are the grand slam you can count on. Central's team of experts know the game inside and out, delivering dependable service and personalized solutions every time. So don't get caught off base. Choose the HVAC team that's always been in the game. Get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. Turn to your Atlanta Carrier experts, Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today, 770-GET-HEAT, or visit them online at centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Of all the radio ads I've ever done, I only advertised one thing that I think saved my life. My CPAP machine, sleep apnea. And I found the best CPAP dealer out there ever, Roddy, at CPAPs, etc., in Alpharetta. CPAPsETC.com. Everything you need, all the supplies, shipped anywhere at a price that often beats insurance. CPAPsETC.com. Go take a peek now.
Here's a tale of Becky.
didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your Georgia headlines for Thursday, September 11th. Services were held at the West Cobb Funeral Home in Marietta on Wednesday for a fallen DeKalb County firefighter. Preston Fant was attempting to save another firefighter during a warehouse fire in Stone Mountain. Fant was a 21-year veteran of the DeKalb County Fire Department. He's survived by his wife and 5 children. A GoFundMe account has been set up for his family. Cobb County officials confirmed the weapon found on campus at Pebblebrook High School on Tuesday was a BB gun. Pebblebrook briefly went to a code red lockdown after images of the gun in a school bathroom were seen on social media. 3 students were arrested. School officials say they will be held accountable according to state law and district policies. And the Cobb County Board of Commissioners approved a settlement with Purdue Pharma, the Sackler family, and 9 other opioid manufacturers for their role in the opioid crisis. Funds from the settlement will be used to enhance addiction treatment and recovery services as well as prevention programs. Cobb County had the highest number of overdose deaths in Georgia in 2017. Today's weather mostly sunny and clear with a high of 85. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10, 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. 8779 southernexteriors.co. We just came off that FBI briefing from the Charlie Kirk assassination and some of the details that they went through, starting with they know that the assailant, the person that did this, was on campus at 11:52. That's when they first picked him up on cameras on campus. And then it goes from there. I can imagine that the forensics teams with the FBI and local police entities are just using every tool, every resource. They say the man they've got footprints, they've got arm prints where he was propped up on the buildings.
They have palm prints. As they said, they have good video that as of now, they're not releasing this to the public. They think they have a pretty good idea from facial recognition as far as what they were able to do, that they do have a pretty solid image to go on. Again, not releasing to the public as of yet. They have also pointed out that the rifle used was recovered in the woods, that he, according to the video that they have, they tracked his movement as he was on campus. They say he's college age, so he blended in. Said that once he took the shot, that he ran across the building, jumped off from an area, went through a residential area that led into a woods. Mm-hmm. And that's where the rifle was found. And so they don't know how far he's gotten, but as we heard from FBI officials, they don't believe he's in the woods because that was the first area they searched all through.
That's right, and they've already secured that location. 130 tips is what they've had so far. They do confirm it was a targeted event, which is what we suspected all morning, and they do have the images, like Lo says, of the suspect. But they're using technology, every bit of technology at their disposal to use those images that they have to try to get a facial recognition of who this is.
So now this does alter a little bit of the math. Are we now looking into, and again, they said that based on the rifle that's been recovered, they're like, well, do you know the owner? They said, well, that's ongoing.
It's ongoing, yes. Which the answer is probably yes.
Probably yes.
Yeah,
probably have a pretty good idea.
Quickly.
We are going to have to now see, is this and it would almost be, I mean, it's all awful as a story, but you wonder, is this just some weirdo leftist who decided this is what I'm going to do for the movement, or is this somebody who it's extremely more connected and complicated than that? And being college age, that's where I'm like, are we talking like military trained, 25, 26 years old?
What point? Or college freshman at 17, 18.
Who's a nut?
Yeah. And the answer, we're
going to find out. That's where we're heading. That's the direction things are going. And, I hope they find this person alive. Like, full extent of justice.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything that's going to go on in the state of Utah, and as many answers as possible.
I just don't know that you find a coward like that alive. They always off themselves.
Well, the way he moved, and they do say a he.
They were specific about it.
It's a man.
That's not surprising at all.
I mean, sometimes they have people that they refer to as she when they're not.
Okay. Well, in that instance, yes. But those are also men.
Let's just clarify that sometimes they're going like, well, she did this.
Yes, that's right.
She nothing.
Yeah,
that was a dude. In this case, they are referring to him as a he, that this was not a suicide mission for them.
It was a targeted mission.
This was a targeted mission.
They said targeted event.
They don't believe that this person's a further threat to society. This was a targeted event, and now this person is on the run trying to escape.
That's right. So now the hard work begins, and this is where the story becomes fascinating. Above it being Charlie Kirk, and just what are we capable of doing when it comes to cornering a person like this, someone who would do this? Because there are so many crimes that go unsolved. Not all of them have the entire attention of the federal government. So that's going to change that dynamic a bit too.
Something that is being found out by regular people around the country right now, especially those that like to pose with their picture, say horrible things about the murder of Charlie Kirk, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and then they hide behind a fake name. Facial recognition software is good.
And it does not need very much of your face at all.
That's how we keep finding out who these people are. Like, if you recall, if we go back to the 2024 election, and you remember the "I'm man enough," like that entire ad, like "I'm man, I'd chew up a carburetor." And we had the guy who was like sitting all princess style on, talking about he works on the farm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the guys who said like, "I braid my daughter's hair." I use facial recognition software on all of these guys to see they were all actors, and the one that jumped out the most was the guy who was talking about, "I braid my daughter's hair" as he's lifting weights.
Yes.
He also did, and it's called gay for pay porn.
He's a straight man doing
gay for money.
Yes.
So let's just understand that the facial recognition software what the FBI is going to use is going to know who this guy is. Like I'm sure they know right now. I'm sure they know exactly who it is. It's more of a matter now of how do you find this person? How do you track them down? And more than anything, is he associated with anyone that might help him? And I think that's why they're not releasing any of this information.
And how deep are his connections? How deep are his associations? It could be as simple as Antifa. He's a member of Antifa or something like that.
Sure.
Or there could be even international connections. I'm not suggesting any of those. I don't know. I'm just saying you can't rule out anything.
Not as of now.
You have to analyze every angle, no matter what that is. You could be just simply anti-Christian.
When we had the shooting in Aledo, Texas, and this was the shooting on the ICE facility, and how there was one person with a rifle and there were 12 other people, and I think in total they ended up arresting 13. And what they discovered was there was a very loose affiliation with these people. They were all part of the same network. They were all part of the same chat groups, the same clubs, but they didn't know one another.
Right.
Wasn't like they were associated, but they planned on, well, let's all show up and let's do this. That, I believe, is what the concern is, especially when it comes to these political groups, when it comes to the Reddits and the online stuff, that these people find community in this stuff, and then they will help one another.
Yes.
So I think that's what the FBI is looking into right now.
You have to. This is something Charlie Kirk said, and this is why I think he is such an important guy. And this is something that you've brought up, Los, so many times. The revolution or color revolution, depending on which it is. But he said, it's my job every day to actively stop a revolution. This is where you have to try and point them toward the ultimate purpose and toward getting back to church, getting back to faith, getting married, having children. This is the type of conservatism that I represent, and that I'm going to continue trying to paint the picture of virtue, lifting people up, not just sitting back and staying angry. I love the conclusion, not just staying angry. For the last 4 years, we were told we should be angry every day. And we were lied to every day, which made us become angry. And Charlie recognized that and wasn't afraid to call it out. That was the value that he brought that no one else did, man. Nobody brought that value. Not to the level anyway. Not to the level he did.
I think we've seen this with Charlie Kirk and what he's done on campuses. We saw this to a different extent with Patrick Bet-David when he was doing Surrounded. He's telling young people, you have the ability for self-determination. That if you apply yourself in these ways, but the difference with Charlie Kirk is he was saying, I understand how difficult it is. In fact, we need to help you. We need to figure out how to make a condition. I talked about it yesterday. The problem that young people have is because of our interest rates that have been artificially high, it is much harder for them to secure credit, for them to start trying to live the American dream and have portions of that American dream. And so you get disillusioned. You get angry. Easily. You get frustrated. And that's what he's pointing about. Like, my job is to keep this from
boiling over.
Yeah. And to think what a color revolution is. And this is where I think this is the direction that we have things that are kind of moving in. The reason why you don't want a color revolution is because one side gets extremely violent and all they're waiting for is for you to retort.
That's
so that they can then claim that you're violent.
That's exactly, which is what we've discussed this morning so many times. Do not fall into that trap.
It's a trap.
They want you to. They are goading you. They are baiting you.
They are waiting for, in this case, whether it's the right, whether it's conservatives, or the government to strike back at them so they can say, see, I told you they're violent.
And here's the reason we have to do what we have to do.
And now you have a color revolution on your hands.
Right. And that's
do not fall for that stuff. It's the play.
It's exactly right. And how many times has this been used over history in countries?
This has become, at least over the last 30 or 40 years, you will see it throughout so much of Eastern Europe, where you will have factions. This happened in Ukraine. They become violent. The government tries to put them down, and then they say, you see, I told you the government's violent. We got to overthrow it.
That's right.
That's a color revolution.
That's right.
That's how it works.
And that's exactly what they would love to see happen in the United States of America. Your common sense has to speak louder. You use everything that you feel in the most positive way as you can, and you will be successful, and America will be successful and greater for it.
Take that rage, that frustration, that anger, that sadness, ball it up into something different, or find a way to put it aside and get active. Keep hitting the ballot box. Make sure you don't sit out the midterms. Make sure you take part in talk radio. Go on to YouTube channels. Support other people that are creating content where you say, all right, I'm going to make sure and give this person 5 or 10 minutes to listen to what they're doing. Like, that's how you strengthen this movement. It's not from, let me get my gun and go deal with these people.
Of course not.
Because then they're playing right into... You think these people that don't care about human life are that concerned about sacrificing a few useful idiots in order to get their revolution going?
Not at all.
Not one bit.
They showed you yesterday that
they
they're
don't
not
care.
Afraid. They do not care. You're smarter, you're better, you're wiser. And you have to do this the right way. You have to do this the right way. If we can impress anything on you today, it is do things the right way. Do not fall for what they do. Do not do what they do. Because we're better than them. We do things the right way.
You value life.
That's exactly right.
They do not. They are a cult of death.
And they will continue to be that way. And remember they told you how dangerous the January 6thers were? They weren't the dangerous ones. Next on Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, September 11th. From the NFL, Week 2 in the league begins tonight with Thursday Night Football. It'll be the 1-0 Green Bay Packers hosting the 1-0 Washington Commanders. The Packers are a 3.5-point favorite for this matchup. That kickoff tonight is set for 8:15. It's now an off day for the Atlanta Braves as the Chicago Cubs took 2 of 3 from them at Truist Park, including a 3-2 finish last night. The Braves, again, will enjoy that off day before continuing the homestand tomorrow night as the Houston Astros will be in town for a weekend series. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
The Morning Extra on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about True Prep, because you want to be ready for anything in this crazy world. Well, True Prep can help you with that scenario. let's talk about personal security. Whether you're in the home or you're out and about, you want to make sure that you're ready for anything. That is why True Prep has the firearms that can help you with that, and ammo at great prices around. Now, here's the other part of it. True Prep also has workshops that can help train you, that can help you with storage, that can help you with safety. These are important aspects to True Prep. It's not just, hey, we're going to sell you the product. We're also going to help you work with the product and do it responsibly. That also includes, hey, water filtration. If you really like getting out there, they can help you with that. When it comes to food storage, they have that. I love the dry food. That's what I keep just in case, because you never know with some of the inclement weather or any of the other crazy stuff out there. Go to 1000 Kyle Parkway in Marietta or go online, trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
Oh no, what is that sound?
It's our rejection detection system. It's showing that several men across Georgia are being denied intimacy by their partners due to ED.
How can this be?
Well, it's more common than you think. As men age, their bodies change. And unfortunately, once they get over 50, some things don't work like they used to.
So what do we do?
There's only one thing to do. We need to get them to Dr. Eric Deal at Total Body Therapy of Georgia. He can fix ED problems.
But how?
At Total Body Therapy of Georgia, they are experts in the P-shot, testosterone replacement, regenerative therapy, and Trimex to create an erection and more.
Hi, this is Dr. Eric Deal from Total Body Therapy of Georgia. Did you know that 50% of men over 50 struggle with some form of ED? Guys, it won't get better on its own. When it's not hard, it's really hard. But I can help you today. Call us at Total Body Therapy of Georgia at 404-777-1911 or learn more about us online at tbtofga.com.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it hard to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Fox on Tech. Want to fly somewhere close? How about taking an Uber? The ride-hailing and meal-hailing app platform usually shuttles you and your food around on the ground, making use of contracted drivers in their own cars. The company is also working to integrate autonomous vehicles for both human transport and food delivery. But starting as soon as next year, Uber will get a bit faster and a bit farther up in the sky. The company says it will add service from Blade Air helicopters. Blade already provides so-called air mobility service in places like New York City, Long Island, and the Jersey Shore, as well as Dubai and parts of Europe. Blade is now owned by air taxi startup Joby, which is working to bring electric vertical takeoff and landing crafts to Uber's services too. Those are cheaper to operate and fly more quietly. No word yet on fare costs or if you have to share your flight with others. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
I do not want to hear that I'm plus size. No, you're fat. I'm curvy. No, you're obese.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10. As we come to the final segment of the show, there is
more news.
More news that has been shared by Clay Travis. It was a post from Steven Crowder, and it was from a screenshot from teams.doj.gov that someone had sent to Steven Crowder this morning. And
give him a little more background information on what the FBI is looking into.
So the ATF and other law enforcement located an older imported Mauser 30-06 caliber bolt rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus. The location of the firearm appears to match the suspect's route of travel. The spent cartridge still chambered, in addition to 3 unspent rounds at the top of the magazine. All cartridges engraved, wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. An emergency trace has been submitted by the ATF in Salt Lake City and is working to generate leads by the trace. The firearm and ammunition have been taken by the FBI for DNA analysis and fingerprint impressions.
Transgender ideology, fascist,
anti-fascist ideology, which is so if
you're not going to let them buy guns anymore.
This changes the dynamic anymore. There's no further
strictly political.
Gets right. There's no further conversation about whether mental illness when it comes to transgendered people. There's no more discussion. If this is the case, when did Minnesota happen? 2 weeks ago?
Week and a half ago.
And then to have it pop up again, this has to be, we have to take this serious. We can no longer just sit back.
We told you 2015 to 2025, your overwhelming majority of shooters when it comes to mass casualty events 4+, that trans women, men, were the ones that were committing them. Now, in this case, this is not going to hit that radar. It's just as public. And yet, we also told you before, when Josie, the redheaded libertarian, went on his show, he was asking about the libertarian view of the trans movement. And she had pointed out what had gone on with her family, and then pointed out the whole live and let live mentality does not apply in this case because this is a ideology that lends itself to Marxism.
That's right. It's all themed in it.
It's dangerous. It is deadly. It is a political ideology that only has one end, just as we talked about with the rest of these people, violence.
The Twitter account, X account, Gays Against Groomers, they've been very vocal about this, about their them being pressured into you can't be a gay person. You have to be
You have to be trans.
That's the only thing they say, and they're pushing back against that.
You can't just be, hey, I'm 14, I'm a man, and I found myself attracted to other men. It's, well, clearly you want to be a woman. Well, no. But that is the mentality. Again, the trans community, the biggest thing you can say about them, it insults them every single time, but let's face it, this is true. They can't breed, they got to recruit. And they're recruiting out of the gay community, and the gay community sitting back going like, I don't want any part of that.
That's right.
At some point, they're going to have to sever ties and consider that you have I'm gay, you have a mental illness.
Those are two different things.
These are two different things entirely.
Completely different
I'm lesbian, you have a mental illness. Because I know quite a bit of lesbians and gays, and I don't know one of them that's ever taken up a weapon and wanted to shoot anybody. But apparently over the last 10 years, if you're trans, you are heavily medicated, you're out of your mind. And not only that, you're picking up firearms to go do some damage.
We'll see if this turns out to be the case, but it's obviously from a very good source. I mean, the screenshot is very clear,
and we'll see if this is the case.
The question that was asked right before the shot was about trans people doing mass shootings.
So I had sent a text to Los last night, and let's see if I can go back and find it now. It's a little on the fly, but there was a X account, Omar on X, and it had been archived. It was a screen grab, and it says, let's just say something big will happen tomorrow. And he was talking about at his school because he, prior to that, said, Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him, literally. So you had that person with those posts, which we hadn't brought to the show up until now.
Nope.
Because there's just been no indication up until this moment that there might be something like that. And when you go to Omar's account, he identifies as trans.
Yes. That's, again, it was speculation to go down that road, and you and I weren't going to do it until now we have the FBI. If this is true, what the ATF and the FBI are looking into, that there was trans ideology and anti-fascist ideology etched into the bullet casings.
Yeah. So that's the most current information that is being shared. We'll continue to watch it and try to figure out and try to make heads or tails of it.
What a self-fulfilling prophecy when you talk about, hey, the trans movement's dangerous. They're violent. And you get shot.
Yeah.
By just that. Because there's plenty of people that take advantage of their Second Amendment rights. They're not crawling off on a rooftop looking to shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Dude, I grew up with a gun rack on the wall with a shotgun, a rifle, and 2 handguns. And it had a pretend lock. It didn't even really lock. It didn't. It wasn't even a real keyhole. And you know how many times I did anything crazy with those? Never one time. How many times did I think about it? Never one time. It's far be it for me to say that I'm special for some reason. I'm not. I just took them hunting.
This is all gross. Like I said, you and I have had a hard time with this as far as just like I've had a sour stomach, have not been able to digest all this information. It almost would feel somehow easier for me in a way if this was some giant organization that decided, because what did you have immediately online? Well, the Israelis killed him.
Yeah,
it's like, because it's always anti that stuff, right?
Silly.
It'd be easier to accept something like, well, the Chinese decided to take him out than
or just some sort of international trying to cause upheaval in the United States
than just some other nutty trans. Megyn Kelly actually also pointed this out. She said that this, as far as that memo that Steven Crowder had, that this does in part work with what the FBI was saying during their presser, gave you a little more detail, and that she's working to get the rest of it all checked out as well. But that it looks like it's pretty indicative of what they're on to right now. But the FBI is not going to tell you.
No, of course.
That information on the bullet casing.
They can't. They can't right now.
I mean, this is the same organization that when we had Nashville go down, they didn't want to give you any information, so it's not to hurt the trans community. Here we go.
Yeah, it's a sad day. This is a sad day. Yesterday was a sad day. Today continues to be a sad day. You keep your chin up. We're still winning. We're going to save this country.
That's why they're lashing out the way they are.
That's right. We are going to save this country. It is going to take every bit of effort that you have to maintain your composure. Do not be drawn off sides by these people. Do not let them draw you off sides. You do things the right way, the way Charlie Kirk would have you do them, and the way the folks on Flight 93 would have done them. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.